The following is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports.
You want to race? If you insist. At that price I can't resist. That's right. That's right. That's right. Tonight, it ain't right. I've got to have me a week. But I'll be back for you, Jack, and I'll let the machine speak. That's right. That's right. That's right.
And the trophy says you're champion, and that's really right. The Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, home to the NBA's Charlotte Hornets, the NFL's Carolina Panthers. But tonight, just 15 miles up Interstate 85, the Pep Boys Indy Racing League has come to town. Breathtaking racing at speeds exceeding 220 miles an hour. The Visionaire 500 is live on TNN Motorsports. If you like high speeds and night moves, as Bob Seger used to sing about, check out those moves right there. Buddy Lazier in the grass dealing with Jim Guthrie en route to the victory here at Charlotte just 1 year ago. That's the kind of racing we're talking about tonight here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Right now, the rain has stopped, but we have been dealing with rain showers here for the better part of the last hour. The start of the Visionaire 500, a few moments behind schedule, but we are certainly glad you're with us here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Welcome to TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. If you like side-by-side racing at lightning quick speeds, you've come to the right place. Think about this. On an average, the Indy Racing League now enjoying at least one lead change every 20 miles. If you like side-by-side racing, well, you again have come to the right spot, because at speeds of 220 miles an hour or better, it's blazing quick. And if you like a tight battle for the point lead, check out these numbers right here. By virtue of winning the pole for the weekend, Tony Stewart's already picked up a 3-point bonus. Now only 5 points behind the Dover winner of a weekend ago, Scott Sharp. And of course, when you talk about Tony Stewart, you talk about one of the brightest young stars in Indy Racing League competition. He's won his 4th pole of the year. Only 7 races have been completed thus far for him on the season. That's what makes Tony Stewart particularly quick. He likes these racetracks. And Vince Welch, when he's out there by himself, he seems to be able to battle the clock like nobody else.
He is indeed fast. In fact, Tony was fastest every time out he went this week, and continued to get faster each time out as you guys tweaked the car. You even won the midget race here last night, and I know you like to run under the lights from your USAC background. Maybe a little drier condition would help, but you've got to be looking forward to tonight's event.
Absolutely. This is kind of in my the right time of the day for me. This seems to be when we perform the best. But you know, Team Menard and Larry Curry and all the guys at the shop and here at the track have done a great job. They brought another great Delara for us, and you know, Firestone brought a good tire that's working real well. And you know, it's Humpy World. You know, everyone likes coming to Charlotte and running here. And you know, it's neat because my Shell guys can come here and hang out and mingle with us and see what I do on the other side of the fence when I have to go run IndyCar. So it's been a fun week for us.
As Eli mentioned, this is your 4th pole, but 3 out of the last 4 races you haven't contended for the win. You have won twice this season, but I know 3 out of the last 4 haven't been up to your expectations. What do you do differently tonight, or what makes you think that you're a contender tonight?
Well, hope that all the rain's holy water coming down and it comes on my car first. You know, when we finished races, we finished in the top 2. I mean, we've got 2 wins and a 2nd place for the races that we did finish. And like you say, the other races that we didn't finish, you know, the best we finished was 8th last week at Dover, and that was thanks to the great effort of my crew. You know, we had a right rear driveline part fail that they changed and got us back on the track, and we finished the race, but finished I think 20 laps down. But at least we came back with some points, and you know, now with getting on on the pole. I think we're only 5 points on the lead right now, and that's what it takes to stay in the championships, get the car back on the track and gain as many points.
Greg Ray on the outside of row 1. He's been very fast as well, driving for A.J. Foyt. Do you anticipate a battle into turn 1 for that first lap lead?
Really, I'm not real worried about tonight. I mean, we've got 208 laps, and I know we've got the car that can win the race if I can just take care of it and, you know, if it holds together for us. So, like I say, if we finish, we normally finish in the top 2. So I got a pretty good feeling if we finish, we'll be on the top end of that, too.
Boy, that's been the case certainly throughout the course of the season. Tony Stewart starts from the number 1 position in car number 1 tonight. Let's go to Bobby Gerald.
And Vince, the man that Tony Stewart is chasing for the Pet Boys IRL Championship overall is Scott Sharp. Scott driving for Kelly Racing, and we're here in the comfort of the garage here, away from the raindrops. Just a couple of sprinkles out there, but how much does this delay kind of put a damper on you getting ready to go racing here tonight, Scott?
Not at all, really. And I get a point where I get really focused and I have the right amount of adrenaline running and just hang in there until the green flag drops.
Now, we mentioned that Stewart is on the pole. He did pick up the bonus point, so he's cut into your lead a little bit. Are you ready to respond to that challenge, and how much of a worry for you is Tony Stewart?
Well, obviously, you know, Tony sets the mark a lot of places we go, and I think that team focuses on qualifying a lot more than our team does. Typically, when the race rolls around, Tony seems to come back our way a lot, and we tend to work on the race a little bit, and I think we've got the Delphi MCI car working pretty good. I think we're going to have some for him.
Now, you didn't race here last year due to injury, so how much of a challenge does that present for you and your team?
None really. You know, Bruton's tracks are just great to run on, and I think both Atlanta, Texas, and Charlotte are so close. You don't even alter the setup all that much. So I feel pretty good about our car, and I think we're going to have a lot for him today.
All right, good luck to you when we do go racing.
Thanks.
Eli, this guy's hoping to make some night moves himself tonight.
He'd like to. There you see his Delara chassis being uncovered as the rain now begins to taper off just a bit here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 1983 champion of the Indianapolis 500s with us, Tom Sneva. And Tom, when TNN last showed you the IRL at Texas, everybody was talking about aerodynamics. Last weekend over on CBS, the question was dealing with the vibration of that concrete track at Dover. What are the concerns here tonight?
Well, there's a couple concerns. One of them is who can get through, over, or around the bumps down in turn 3 the best. A lot of times qualifying, the guys drive around them, up above them. But in the race, with traffic, you know, it's a different story. Inside Lazier's car right here, this is the last practice session last night, and you can see the vibration, the bumps, and the stuff they have to drive around. The guys have actually had an easier time getting the car to handle through the grass in the front straightaway than they have trying to get through turn 3.
Interesting mix, too, of the drivers who have chosen to bring their Dover car back here, and literally they've torn them all the way down to the fuel cell after that bone-jarring experience of a weekend ago. A lot of teams, however, a good 20 or so, have elected to go with totally different machines, and the biggest of those stories is Davey Hamilton saying so long to the G-Force chassis, which he's used on all 6 races thus far, shifting to the Delara tonight. What does that mean for him?
Well, again, it's nice to have a team that has the luxury of going both ways. Some race cars are better in certain racetracks. These tracks are quite a bit different. It's a little bit like hitting a Callaway off the tee and putting with a TaylorMade or something. But these guys can adapt because they're race drivers.
If you're just joining us, we are live here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Rain has been falling. The start of this Pep Boys Indy Racing League Visionaire 500 somewhat delayed, but we're staying. What about on pit road? 95, I know, is the number of available gallons. Is it still a master strategy, making sure you got enough fuel to go the distance?
Well, fuel's always a concern. You know, they have to average 1.8 miles per gallon. Now, to the average fan, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you build the kind of horsepower that these motors build and turn them the RPMs that these guys turn them, they're thirsty little devils.
Pennzoil Racing, the Pennzoil Panther team with Scott Goodyear starting in 7th here this evening. Let's hear from him as he awaits the start of the Visionaire 500.
And Eli, Scott Goodyear standing in 4th place in the point standings. And Scott, what about this race here for you at Charlotte Motor Speedway? Because you guys did not get a chance to test here. So how has it been leading up to green flag?
Well, we had a bit of a panic button going on yesterday, let me tell you that. But we got the car up to 7th in qualifying. Not very happy with it, but it's improved now. I think we got a good race car. I don't know if we have an ultimate outright fast race car itself, but I think that we're going to have a good race car for the race and traffic and what have you. We'll just wait and see. If not, we'll change it in the pit stops, and the guys do a great job on the Panther team. So, you know, but we got to be there to finish, collect the points if you can't win. And a couple of DNFs early in the year hurt us in the points championship, but we're climbing.
We know that after your first few laps here in practice, you weren't real comfortable over in turn 3. Has that gotten better?
For our car, it certainly has. We've changed spring shocks and everything on the car and roll bar sizes. Everything's had to be changed here. The car needs to be much different than last year. Last year it was much different in 3 and 4. It was smoother, and this last year seems to really have just not necessarily put bumps in, but put in waves, and it sends the car in motion, and you're trying to go through there flat, but you really, for me right now, still have to lift a little bit through 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is flat out, so we'll see if we improved it again for the race. We made some more changes. I think we did all right, though.
All right. Have a good run.
Thank you.
Vince?
Visiting with Greg Ray, and Greg, one of the great stories of the Indy Racing League and what the Indy Racing League is all about. And you're stepping in for the A.J. Foyt team tonight, running for Billy Boat, who's still on injury rehab, and you put the car on the front row on the outside of row 2. It's been a good week for Greg Ray and the career of Greg Ray.
Absolutely. We're just here getting some experience and filling in for Billy Boat, and we had a really good car in practice, and we missed pole by just that much. We hit the limiter on the back straight, and but, you know, I'm real happy to be filling in for Billy Boat right now. I hope he recovers very quickly, and look forward to racing him on the racetrack. But you know, we're ready to run, and I'm glad the rain didn't cause any delay. All the fans are here ready to watch this race, so I'm happy to get it on tonight.
Obviously, you've had some good success. You qualified on the front row at Indianapolis. You were second at Texas. You run for Thomas Knapp Motorsports, and you're not scheduled to run that race for that team at Colorado. What will be your status at that particular event, since Billy is expected to be back in the cockpit?
Well, right now, we were always planning on taking a few races off to try to solidify some sponsorship programs we're working on for 99 and the year 2000. And so we're planning on coming back for the Atlanta race, Dallas, and Las Vegas. And hopefully real soon we'll be having something to announce as far as our team having sponsorship. If not, I think Tom and I will be hunting one of these top teams for a ride next year.
Greg, obviously you're in a proven car. This car of A.J. Foyt's has proven it can win races. Do you feel a little pressure maybe to go out and do well, not only for the team, but also prove something to the racing community that Greg Ray is for real, for those that maybe still doubt?
Well, I think as a race car driver, you know, sometimes you can put yourself in a situation where you feel pressure from sponsors or you know, trying to progress your career. But, you know, I've always wanted to win, and I've always really pushed my own self, and nobody puts more pressure on me to win than I do. And if the car's there, I'm going to go for it. If not, I'm just going to try to bring the Conseco car home and get some experience.
Greg Ray, starting on the outside of row 1, should be quite a battle to turn 1 along with Tony Stewart tonight.
How much do you believe of what he just told you?
Well, I'm not sure. You know, these drivers are getting more political. I mean, how would a guy be in a hurry to get out of an A.J. Foyt car? You know, something that's put him right up front in both races that he's run so far for him.
By the way, following up on a story from last weekend, if you were with CBS and the coverage of Dover, you last saw Greg Ray and Eddie Cheever kind of staring and glaring at each other. And though they have certainly been civil here this week, as you'd expect a couple of pros to be, they are still both very much sure they were in the right a weekend ago.
Well, it's amazing. You know, the view, they each got their own crystal ball, and they saw that accident a lot different than each other. But there were some looks on both of their faces when they got out of the car that you felt like neither one felt they were responsible. But it was interesting. Greg Ray's son wanted to give him some kind of ray gun for luck, and he says he's glad he didn't have it at Dover, because there would have been some laser beam shot at Eddie Cheever.
There is Eddie Cheever holding court with other drivers down on the infield area. Driver introductions now beginning as we are set to close in on the start of the Visionaire 500K, 208 laps here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back with you here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Pep Boys IRL is live on TNN Motorsports. A rain delay pushing the schedule back just a bit. Driver introductions underway right now. The Grand Marshal here is that gentleman, Robert Arthur Allison. Bobby Allison of NASCAR fame, though a lot of racing fans might remember Tom Sneva when BA was a teammate of yours back at Indy.
Yeah, actually, Bobby did run up at Indianapolis, was a couple years with Penske, and, you know, he had a great career, obviously, in the NASCAR circuit, but he was a good IndyCar racer, and actually, we'd learned quite a bit off of Bobby. Some things that they did in the stock cars that we hadn't been doing with the Indy cars, and I learned a lot from Bobby.
His brother Donnie Allison ran there, so too Cale Yarborough, and obviously so too Ari Leyendyke, who starts 15th here this evening. Let's hear from him.
And here's Ari Leyendyke, the two-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. And Ari, you won on a racetrack very similar to this one at Texas. Yeah. How similar is it, and how much can you carry over to this speedway?
The layout is similar, but it's very bumpy here, and that's given my car especially a lot of problems. So I just hope to have a good race tonight.
All right, and they're dragging Ari away to be introduced to the throngs here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Eli.
He is one guy who really likes the idea not only of the Pep Boys IRL, but of these mile-and-a-half speedways, be it this one, be it Atlanta, be it Texas. He likes these racetracks.
Well, he likes to go fast, and he's competitive. He didn't have as big a smile on his face as I thought he would have. I talked to him a little bit earlier, and they haven't figured out the bumps, and he can't even figure out how to drive around them. So he wasn't as happy as he wanted to be.
One guy who's used to this racetrack, but in a 3,400-pound stock car, is making his IRL debut here tonight. Stevie Reeves is on hand, passed his rookie test in Atlanta. He's going racing tonight here in Charlotte. Let's hear from him.
He sure is. Stevie Reeves will be making his 9th appearance, I believe, here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but 8 of those have been in a Busch Grand National car, so a little bit different learning curve for you in getting in the Pagan machine here tonight.
Yeah, quite a bit different. When I came here in a Busch car, I'd had a lot of races under my belt, and I didn't even get the test before we come here, so we didn't have many laps before we qualified, and characteristics are pretty similar, though. If you can get through the bumps in the Busch car, you can run good, and it seems to be the same here, and that's something we're still working on without testing. That kind of hurt us a little bit, but I'm here to learn tonight. We're using this as a test session for us and just get some laps and hopefully see the checkered flag and set the stage for the rest of the season.
What are your expectations tonight personally? Obviously, you talk about as a team just finishing the race and staying out of trouble, but as a driver, I know that your personal expectations are normally a little higher than that.
Yeah, we always say we're going in, and you know, we talked about just getting comfortable the first part and racing the second half, but I've been racing 24 years now, and it's going to be hard to not race people, but you know, it's real important that we finish this race tonight for myself, for the laps, and also the Pagan team. They've given me a great opportunity, and they've only been able to do one green flag stop all year. They said they've had a lot of trouble getting the checkered flag. So if we get to the end, it's going to be a victory for us tonight. And then, you know, these cars are so much different than what I'm used to. Just the laps are going to be so important. But if I'm out there racing, don't be surprised.
Yeah, Pagan Racing has not finished a race this year. So if they do it tonight, they may carry Stevie Reeves back to the garage on the team's shoulders this evening.
That'd be great to see for that bunch. And that young man, Stevie Reeves, is really what the Pep Boys IRL is about, because quite honestly, Tom Sneva, he's not brought anything to the table as far as financial backing is concerned. He's one of those young guys that Tony George always talked about, who said ought to be able to come here and go racing without bringing a bushel full of money with them.
Well, and that's important for this league to survive, is you've got to get the cost somewhat under control. And they've really taken a NASCAR formula, you know, keep the cost under control, give everybody the equipment they need to be competitive, and try to keep the racing close. So it's good for everybody. There's so many drivers out there that have the ability but never get the opportunity, and here's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for these guys.
As we mentioned before, Stevie took his rookie test in Atlanta in J.J. Yaley's car that day, got up to about 212 miles an hour, passed the test, turned the wheel back over to J.J., and Stevie Reeves is here, while ironically J.J. Yaley is not for tonight's Visionaire 500. They're still wrapping up track drying here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're patching a few spots. Drivers, as you see, are getting antsy. We're back for the start shortly. The Visionaire 500 is being brought to you by Visionaire. Exceed the limits in the Visionaire Vantage. It's a whole new class of business jet. By Pep Boys. Cars like us. People love us. By True Value. For knowledgeable advice on all of your home improvement projects, come to True Value. Anything to help. And by Firestone, America's tire since 1900. We are back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Visionaire 500. That's 500 kilometers, 208 laps around the mile-and-a-half Charlotte Motor Speedway. As everybody waits for the start of the event, Raul Boisel, a veteran of this series. A lot of guys on hand figuring that maybe he might be able to pull off a victory tonight. And there's Tony Stewart back to the front row starting spot, where seemingly he is all the time. I believe this is his 12th front row start in the 20 races that he has competed in the series. So a bright young man. Let's talk, though, about the future. It's been well documented that Tony Stewart moves on to NASCAR competition next year, but still there are some very bright new faces, rookies this year. We talked of Reeves, Donnie Beechler, not to mention the veterans. I think, though there may not be a formal proving ground in place quite yet, there's enough youth here to look towards the future of the IRL.
Well, there really is, and with Tony, you know, his Indy career isn't over. He's going to go run the Winston Cup things, but he's going to be back at Indy next year, and maybe more than just Indianapolis. So, you know, he's an open-wheel guy, and he'd love to be there full-time, but he can't do them both.
Then you got a guy like Jeff Ward, who loves to go racing. He was a motocross star in years gone by, now behind the wheel of a Pep Boys IRL machine. Let's hear from him as we await the start of the Visionaire 500.
Yeah, and it was just a week ago that Jeff Ward was testing the Winston Cup car at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Tabasco team. How was that ride?
It's a lot different than one of these, and especially being at the Indianapolis in an IndyCar and then going back there in a Cup car. It was quite thrilling, but I'll stick to these right now where I know what I'm doing.
You're starting on the outside of row 5. What kind of race do you expect tonight from what's taken place in practice and qualifying?
It's going to be a pretty quick pace. We found a lot of speed with the new motor we have that we're running with the top 5 guys, and just got to be there at the end. We've had some problems in the past races, but I feel that we'll be up front and at the end. As long as we're there, we got something for the guys.
Jeff Ward has proven if he's on the track, he's going to be fast and he can take it to the end. He's a contender to win.
It is a G-Force chassis with Aurora power. Jeff Ward hoping for a victory lane visit from his 10th starting spot tonight here in Charlotte. Awaiting the start of the Visionaire 500. It has been delayed by rain, just about 45 minutes behind the scheduled start. We're closing in on the get-go. Scott Goodyear beginning to suit up as the Pennzoil Panther team awaits him. We are closing in on the start. Robbie Unser wishes he could be behind the wheel. As we told you earlier, the injury of a week ago at Dover allows him to come to Charlotte, but he can't get behind the wheel of the machine. Let's check in with Robbie down in the pits.
No, he can't, Eli, and I get the feeling that it's just killing you that you're not going to be firing up here at the green flag.
Well, it's real difficult. We had a great race going at Dover last weekend, and things just didn't go our way, and we hurt our foot a little bit more than able us to get back in here. But I'm really happy Eddie's doing well, and all our sponsors kind of missed out a little bit, but the Children's Beverage Group and Rachel's come on with Eddie's car, and I think we're going to see a good race here tonight. Just wish we could be in it.
How long will the injury keep you out now, Robbie?
I'll be back at the next race. It's going to be sore for a while, but I'll be running in the next race.
That is 3 weeks away at Pikes Peak International, and Robbie Unser is looking forward to it, Vince Welsh.
Raul Boisel starting on the inside of row 4. He's looking forward to tonight's race as well. An opportunity to prove yourself as far as this team is concerned, because you guys have really run into a lot of obstacles throughout the course of the season that hasn't let you be there in the end.
Yeah, you're right. We've been qualified reasonable well, and the last 3 races running well, being involved in accidents or mechanical failures. So looking forward to see the checkered flag.
Talk about this facility, racing here. It's your first time here, right?
It is. It's an unbelievable racetrack. You need to work a bit on the car, especially on 3 and 4, to go over the bumps, but I think it'll be a fast race. Will that be a constant challenge tonight, continually adjusting the car as the race progresses? Yeah, I think so, especially after the rain. They wash all the rubber out of the track, and normally, you even go faster during the night, so it's cooled down. Yes, you definitely need to change the car during pit stops, and it's a long race, so it's 208 laps.
Raul Boisel, Trans World Racing and McCormick Motorsports, getting ready to climb in his machine and get ready for the Visionaire 500.
He led 7 miles, 7 laps at Dover a weekend ago. Raul did, as the first laps he has led all year.
Yeah, and they've really come on. They've got a new sponsor. Trans World's on board. Those guys are real excited about being in IndyCar racing, and, they need some luck.
You saw John Paul Jr. getting strapped in. You talk about Boisel also. He's got a new man on the team, Buddy Fay, who originally was with the IRL. He's been with the NHRA, most recently with NASCAR Winston Cup Racing with Joe Gibbs' racing team. But Buddy Fay has joined McCormick as the team engineer, and I don't know if he is the only guy to have made the difference of late. It's a team effort, but it's good to have him on their side.
Well, engineering's a big factor, and getting around the racetrack is real important to these drivers' success. So anything you can add to that team to help the driver sort out a race car for a particular situation is a big advantage.
We're inside 10 minutes from the start of the Visionaire 500. We're so happy you've spent your time with us here. Don't go away. Dr. Jack Miller is ready to fire him up. So is Ari Lyondike. And so are we when we return to Charlotte. Queen City of the Carolinas, that is, as they call it, uptown Charlotte, North Carolina. But we are just about 15 miles away for the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. The Visionaire 500 is set this evening here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Eli Gold, Tom Sneva, Vince Welch, and Bobby Gerald on hand to bring you all the action. Everybody already set to go. A.J. Foyt's got to be chomping at the bit. He's got a driver starting second, Greg Ray. He's got Kenny Brack starting third. Let's hear from the big man from Houston, Texas.
We get a good close look at the eyes of Greg Ray as he sits in anticipation of a start here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And of course, the car owner on the Conseco number 11 is AJ Foyt. And AJ, what does the rain delay do for your psyche as well as the drivers here? You've been through this a few times.
Well, I've been through it a few times, you know. Of course, they was ready to go an hour ago, but all in all, I think both the boys have settled down, and we just got to bide our time.
Tony Stewart put up that big number yesterday in practice, over 221 miles per hour. You concerned about him getting away?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. No, I'm not too concerned about it.
The smile says it all, guys. He's not concerned at all. AJ Foyt's ready.
And the irony there, of course, Tom, there you see Greg Ray in a car that beat him at Texas a few weeks ago when Ray himself finished second.
Yeah, it's fun to see AJ with that kind of smile on his face. You don't see that often, but it doesn't appear as though he's too concerned about Tony driving away from his cars.
That Texas connection right there. Greg Ray from Plano, AJ Foyt from Houston. Could be tough to deal with tonight. We'll be back to fire the engines for the Visionaire 500 in just a moment. Back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Visionaire 500 for the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Still a few moments away. The reason why, a rain shower, actually a pretty good storm that came across the track about an hour and a half or so ago, and track drying continues. Normally, you wouldn't necessarily be concerned about the apron of the racetrack, but Tom Sneaver, the way these guys ran here a year ago and the way they ran at the similar track in Texas a few weeks ago, you darn well better have the apron dry.
Well, no kidding. Anything that's got pavement on it is a part of the racetrack, including some that doesn't have pavement. You know, the grass is part of the racetrack for these guys, or it was last year, so it'll be fun to watch.
If you're not familiar with the racetrack, the turns are banked 24 degrees. The front and back straightaways are basically flat. They're 5 degrees each. And there's a double dog leg on the main straightaway. That is the back straightaway. And the transition from the corners onto the flat, not particularly difficult. It's fairly smooth.
Yeah, nobody's had any concern about transitions off the corner. It's just trying to get through the entry to 3 in the middle between 3 and 4. So that's been the big concern for these guys. And really, Eli, what they've had to do before up till now is they've been able to sort of drive around some of the problems. And in the race, though, you're going to have to be able to drive down low, drive up high, and be forced to run through some of the bumps, whether you like it or not.
Let's discuss some of the technical aspects for folks who may be enjoying the Pep Boys Indy Racing League for the first time. You've got basically for these teams 6-speed transmissions. I've talked to most who'll say 3 accelerating gears and 3 different high gear settings, with the ratios, I guess, not very far apart. But there are also other options as well, aren't there?
Well, there are, and you know, like I say, you don't need 6 gears in those gearbox. A lot of times they'll pull some of those out to qualify to get the weight in the gearbox down. But you know, it's really a luxury now to have 2 or 3 top gears. You get in the draft, and then the motors run a little bit faster, and to protect those things, and especially to keep off the rev limiter, because you're limited to 10,500 RPMs in these cars. They won't let you go above that. It's actually a good rule. It keeps the cost of the motors down, and it's part of the series that makes it what it is.
Marco Greco's red machine. There you see a good look at the Royal Purple entry for Jimmy Kite out of Stockbridge, Georgia, who starts back in the 23rd position here today. And Bobby Allison is our Grand Marshal. He too on hand, and he's set to give the command to fire the engines.
He's cued. They're going to...
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for those famous words to start the engines. Here to give the command tonight for the Visionaire 500. Please welcome Bobby Allison.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
So the leader of racing's Alabama gang gives the command to fire them up here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. When we come back, they'll be rolling, getting set for the start of race number 7 of 11 in the 1998 Pep Boys Indy Racing League season. Back with the start on TNN Motorsports after this. We are back with you here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jim Guthrie, as he was pulling away from his spot on the grid, it looked as though he might have tagged the wall while they were going back and forth to start heating up the tires. Looked as though he might have just nudged the wall here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll keep an eye on that team. They lost an engine here in the final practice last night and had to go with a replacement. And
the nose of the car.
I was looking there. There's the front wing.
So he clipped it pretty good. He's heading for the pits. You could see him passing the other cars, trying to get a run into the pits to see what the problem is. But that's a little unusual at that point in the race. How are you going to get the nose knocked off without? I'm not sure of that angle. How you do that without getting the right front or the right rear involved?
Well, they say no. I just looked up and I said it looked like he had just nudged the wall. I couldn't quite tell, but obviously clearly didn't. As I was saying, they lost an engine last night, had to put their Dover power plant back in the car, which wasn't ideal anyway, but it's not been their last 24 hours, that's for sure. As far as the numbers here this evening for this Pep Boys Indy Racing League event, there you see the 24 starters, with one of them right now on the pit lane, Guthrie. Tony Stewart went quicker than that in practice, but the official numbers can only be set in the qualifying runs as we're turned here on Thursday evening. Why don't we check out the starting lineup for you for this 208 lap event here at Charlotte. Tony Stewart, 4th pole in 7 races this year, and Greg Ray in for Billy Boat. 3rd at Texas for Kenny Brack, and Mark Dismore drives for Tom Kelly. Marco Greco had a super run at Dover, came home 3rd. There's the Dover winner, Scott Sharp. Scott Goodyear, as we told you, worked on his car at Dale Earnhardt's shop this week, and Davey Hamilton switching to the Delora chassis. Raul Boisel from Brazil. He was 8th at Phoenix this year, his best finish of the season. A good rookie from 97, Jeff Ward. Brian Tyler. Tom Sneaver, the only guy not to do any last session practicing here yesterday.
Yeah, they didn't go out late, but a good qualifying run for that team. And, you know, they're getting more laps all the time, and that's what it takes to get it towards the front.
And, of course, Eddie Cheever, the Indy 500 champion. John Paul Jr. is on hand, the former IMSA GT champ. And there's Buddy Lazier, who won the Indy 500 in '96. Ari Lyondike himself, a 2-time Indy 500 champ. And Andy Mitchner, who was a rookie on the Pep Boys IRL scene here this year. Dr. Jack Miller, 21st place finish at Indy and Dover. Stefan Gregoire. On down the line, Tice Carlson. He's in for Steve Knapp, who found himself in a jam a weekend ago at Dover. And there are problems right off the bat for Wardy as Jeff came off and again goes spinning through the grass.
Well, we got some unusual things happening here on the pace laps. I'm not sure what Wardy was doing. He had to probably be just trying to get the tires up to temperature. So, you know, the track obviously is surprising these guys after the rain shower.
And there you see Jim Guthrie, Sam Schmidt, Jimmy Kite, and new daddy Donnie Beechler. His wife giving birth to a baby just yesterday back in Springfield, Illinois, and he returned here this afternoon.
Yeah, actually his older brother was real nervous all week before the baby was born. He wasn't sure if he was going to be an aunt or an uncle.
Thank you very much. That is Buddy Lazier, the Hemmelgarn Delora, starting in the middle of the field, 14th. We have those 2 views for you, front and back. John Paul Jr. starting 13th in the Visionaire G-Force. Scott Goodyear, he'll be giving us a ride from his 7th place starting spot. And Scott Sharp will ride with him from 6th, and green is in the air.
The start was a little bit spread out there, Eli. I'm not sure if these guys are just being real careful trying to get these things up to speed.
Meanwhile, Sam Schmidt comes down the pit lane here on the start, while others now begin to chase their way down the back straightaway with Scott Sharp.
He took a look underneath Kenny Brack, but decided, hey, it's early in this race. Let's not force anything yet.
Of course, Tony Stewart, right that time, didn't get the jump he wanted.
No, but
Zico colors certainly did, though, for Greg Ray. There you see 7th, 8th, and 9th. Marco Greco in the red machine being bypassed as Hamilton moves up along with Ward.
Yeah, Ward was on the outside there. The orange and white car in the middle of that 3 right there.
That yellow machine you saw was Scott Goodyear. There's Jeff Ward. Greco behind him in 9th. Hamilton trying to take that Delora to the outside of Scott Goodyear.
Well, that's a G-force being passed by that Delora, and Davies probably got a smile on his face.
He'll move up to 6th spot on that exchange as we ride with Scott Goodyear.
You saw his left hand just came back on the wheel just as we came into this into the screen, and he's reaching over looking for a fuel mixture is what he would be doing on the left side of that dash opposite the wheel.
There's a little knob there, and they'll say turn it to such and such a position. Meanwhile, up front, Tony Stewart in that Glidden's yellow and orange machine has caught Greg Ray. This is for the lead. Lap number 5.
And he's got it.
He's got it as he uses the banking to try and whoa himself back down just a bit.
Well, that's a little bit like a slide job at Winchester or Salem in the sprint cars. But Tony's done a great job at the beginning of these races. He's matured quite a bit. He doesn't care about leading the first lap. You know, a year or two ago, he wanted to lead every lap. And, you know, he's matured a lot throughout the years and uses his head a lot more now.
That purple machine, Buddy Lazier, all the way up to 9th right now. He's 3rd in line in that scramble. And we're riding with Buddy. Now let's see how it might dance around a bit here in 3 and 4.
Well, you can see his hands and the wheel sort of vibrating in him.
And there you see one machine slowing. Raul Boisel having problems on the straightaway. And caution is on the racetrack. So caution for the first time. Well, now they've withdrawn it. They were showing it, took it down. They were holding it in their hand and never did wave it. So they'll allow that machine to coast on in.
Well, they obviously determined that Bosel's motor didn't leak enough fluid on the racetrack, but I don't know if he's going to get back to the pits. You can see the fire underneath. He's obviously maybe knocked a hole in the side of that thing. It's got more ventilation than it was designed with.
Ryan Howard had that caution flag in his hand, drew it up, and never did unfurl it. Bobby Gerald has an update on that man, Raul Boisel.
Eli, scanner communication initially indicated that it was a blown engine for Raul Boisel. If so, that would be 2 in a row because they blew an engine at Dover. He is running very slow out on the raceway right now. We anticipate him trying to coast to a stop here in the pits, but we're afraid that the engine is done, and that's going to be all she wrote for Raul Boisel here tonight at Charlotte.
And now the caution is out because further checking by the IRL officials shows, as you see there, all sorts of problems. He won't make it around. There is fluid on the racetrack. So caution on the speedway definitively here at lap number 9.
Yeah, I was a little surprised it took that long because you could see the fire out low. Obviously they had oil, something out of the side of the motor, so it had to be leaking some fluid. But Raul's been around a long time, experience. He probably got it down off the racing groove as quick as he could.
So caution on the speedway. The first of the evening here at Charlotte. There is your race leader, Tony Stewart. Took the lead at lap 5 from Greg Ray. Back with you here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Quick reminder, coming up next weekend here on TNN Motorsports, the powerful pickups of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will be doing some high-speed hauling at the New Hampshire International Speedway. Don't miss the Pennzoil VIP Discount Auto Center 200. That is Sunday, 1 week from tomorrow, August 2nd, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on TNN Motorsports. Field having just gotten the 1-to-go signal. We told you Sam Schmidt had come down the pit lane for an unscheduled stop early. Vince, what are you hearing?
Well, Sam Schmidt did have a problem. They brought him in. They thought there was a small fire on board, possibly just because the exhaust was too hot. They sent him back out on the track for a couple of laps just to see what how the car reacted. Right now, they're not exactly sure. Larry Nash, the team owner, you see is back behind me. Constant communication with Sam, talking about how the car feels, maybe to get some identification as to what went wrong and caused that early pit stop. A lot of bad luck for this team. They hope to turn the fortunes around tonight.
Yeah, they blew an engine here on Thursday afternoon. It was a fresh rebuild at the time. Gave no warning. Sam just blew up.
Yeah, Vince and Bobby. Also, Jimmy Kite came into the pits under that yellow and did some adjustments. So you might check that out for us, too, if we could.
We'll update on that as green flag is back in the air. And on lap 14, Tony Stewart quickly up through the gearbox.
Well, it looked like Greg Ray had some problems getting up to speed. He got passed by his teammate, and and Buddy Lazier's going to the front, boys. Look at this down the back straightaway.
You've got Sharp working to the inside. Dismore is there, and Sharp will try and come out with the lead if he can hold it against Tony Stewart.
Well, we had both Kelly cars and Tony Stewart running 3 abreast.
From Sharp looking rearward right now. Side by side with Stewart for the lead.
And right behind him, that's his teammate, Mark Dismore.
Again, Sharp to the inside, Stewart to the outside. For the lead in the Visionaire 500 at 202 miles an hour.
Well, Dismore's right there. Again, this is inside Sharp's car. Looking at Tony Stewart, sizing him up.
Again, looking back, you've got Dismore on the scene as well. The other Kelly racer right there to the left of your screen. And there's Kenny Brack coming into the picture.
Yeah, but I don't know if you noticed Dismore's car wiggle. He was up high, and the thing gave a pretty good wiggle right in the middle of the corner.
And Dismore just wiggled right past Sharp, though. Wiggled right by him to the outside to grab second spot. Stewart, Dismore, Sharp.
Kenny Brack on the inside.
Then the green machine is Ray right there swinging by. The purple is Buddy Lazier.
We were worried about Greg Ray. He didn't come up to speed very well, but he's coming back to these guys.
Sharp, nice and calm. There's Dismore, number 2 on the screen there. Behind car number 1, Tony Stewart. Stewart has led every race this year. He's led 17 of the 20 races he's been in.
Well, this is pretty good stuff at 215 miles an hour, Eli.
Again, there's Ray, part of that Texas connection. He's from Plano as they go around Jimmy Kite in that Royal Purple machine.
Yeah, he made a stop earlier, and they obviously have some problem that they can't get a grip on.
Riding again with Sharp, looking back towards Ray right behind him. Sharp is in 4th, Ray in 5th.
Down the back straightaway, just entering turn 3. Hear the throttle, hearing blurping the throttle, Eli. Just trying to get through the corner with as much pedal as he can get.
Around Guthrie's machine they go, putting him a lap down. In that blue number 23.
Well, again, we didn't find out what exactly happened when he knocked the nose off on the pace lap.
Couldn't have been good.
No.
And there's the spread, 0.3 of a second from first Stewart back to Dismore in second. Dismore, of course, if you're new to IRL or Indy cars in general, he's the guy who had that horrific crash in practice back in 1991 for the Indy 500. You might remember seeing it. Totally destroyed the car, nearly did the same to his body. Basically had to relearn how to walk that entire summer. And here he is back racing and racing well, of course, many years down the road. But that was a scary time for him back in 1991, as you may remember.
Yeah, it really was. And this guy, look at this wheel to wheel.
Oh, great battle right there. That is for 4th spot. Sharp in the orange and yellow, and Ray in the green. That is for 4th and 5th.
That interlocking the wheels and then wiggling, that isn't a good way to grow old, Eli. I know that.
That's the voice of Tom Sneva. I'm Eli Gold. Vince Welch and Bobby Gerald are on the pit lane and in the garage for us here at Charlotte tonight. We are live on TNN Motorsports, the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Raul Boisel, we told you earlier, brought out the first caution, an apparent blown engine at lap number 9. Let's get the update on him in the garage.
That's right, Eli. Still down here on the pit lane, but Raul, how disappointing is this? 2 weeks in a row with a blown engine.
Well, it's very disappointing. This is the 4th race I don't finish, and normally that's in my curriculum. That's not really happen. I always finish races, and it's frustrating because it's not I can do it. You know, it's just no warning on the engine. Just blew up early this stage of the races. Not fun.
We're sorry to see you out of it. This was to be Raul's first night race tonight. It lasted only a few laps, Eli.
Sure did, as the leaders go around that blue machine of Stefan Gregoire.
Well, they got to traffic, Eli, and Dismore just blew by Stewart as soon as they caught traffic. I don't know if that's a traffic situation or Tony's car's going away a little bit, but Dismore's gone.
Matter of fact, the last lap, Dismore 213 miles an hour. Stewart at 206. So a significant difference. This last lap, Dismore 210, Stewart at 205. There you see Eddie Cheever shows himself moving from 9th up to 8th, having gotten around Hamilton moments ago. And back up front, Mark Dismore and Kelly Racing showing the way, having taken the lead at lap number 24. After the first handful of laps were led by Greg Ray, and then Tony Stewart led from 5 through 23. 26 laps complete. 2:08 make up the distance here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back in a moment. At Charlotte under caution. Remember we told you that Tony Stewart had dropped to 6 and 7 miles an hour off Mark Dismore's pace. But while you folks were away for a few moments, the smoke erupted from behind the Glidden Menards. And that's a tough break.
It really is. You know, when they run them that hard, stuff happens. But this team's had some engine trouble throughout the year. It hurt them at Indianapolis. They've been fast everywhere, but reliability sometimes hasn't been their strong point.
Let's go down to Vince Welch.
With team manager Larry Curry. Larry, I know this isn't the way you wanted to see the early stages of this race unfold. You guys have been fast all week. What's the problem here?
Yeah, we're not sure. All of a sudden the thing starts smoking, and we don't know yet what's wrong with it. Everything on the telemetry looked good, so.
We're given no indication that there was a problem?
None. So, same old story, it seems like.
Disappointing for Tony Stewart and Team Menard. At least at this point, it does not look as though Tony Stewart's going to be a factor tonight.
Heartbreaker for that bunch as Tony just looks on in disbelief. He won a race here last night, but that's no consolation here this evening.
Yeah, and Curry said same old story. Well, they haven't had that many oil lines come loose this year, so I'd say it's a little more deeply seated than we'd like.
Lap 31, these pit stops, the fuel window is roughly 45 laps here at Charlotte, but everybody's taking advantage of the stop. Let's go to Bobby Gerald.
Buddy Lazier just coming in, getting a cool drink of water, and they're in and out of here very quickly. A nice stop for Ron Himmelgarn and company. Buddy Lazier, the 96 Indy 500 winner, won here last year.
You can see Sharp just barely beat Buddy out of the pit, so the Himmelgarn team had a great pit stop.
Everybody just kind of skiing their way through, and looked like something wrong there. They were in for a lengthy stop.
They were. He was one of the first in, but he wasn't one of the first to get out.
Right, Ray had come in actually the second man in behind Kenny Brack, if notes serve correctly, and he was one of the very last out. So we'll get an update from the Conseco team and see exactly what went on down there with the Texas connection and find out what's cooking right there.
It was interesting looking. Complete. It was interesting looking out of the back of the Greg Ray's car. This car right here, the right side, it looked like it was burning a lot more fuel than the left side. There was a dark blue flame on,
just raw
on the right.
Fuel there.
Exactly, and the left side didn't appear to have that.
So we'll get an update there shortly as we were working caution for the second time. Again, brought out with the problems from Tony Stewart. There comes Mark Dismore, who was the race leader at the caution. It's the second race he has led this year. Led 27 laps in the season opener at the Walt Disney World Speedway in Orlando en route to a 5th place finish.
Well, but the key here is Eli, he came in a lap later than everybody, so he's going to be at the back of the pack. Now, I don't know if they had some kind of communication problem or whatever, but all the rest of the leaders stopped before he did, so he's going to be at the back of this pack and have a ways and some bodies to try to get back around.
Schmidt is still on the pit lane for service. Others making stops now of those who are a lap or more down. We are working under caution, lap number 32 of 208 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go back and watch that stop for Greg Ray and the Conseco bunch moments ago, and watch the fuel hose there.
Also, Vince, you might
let's see if that's where the problem cut. Well, yeah, it looks like the fuel hose won't disengage. That's what it is right there, Tom.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they have much room. The hose is pretty tight, so I don't know if he's a little bit farther forward in his pit than they want him to be, but it doesn't look like there's much room for error there.
So that's what transpired moments ago on Greg Ray's stop, as the field will be getting the 1-to-go signal. Looked like Hamilton almost got nipped there going out of the pits also, as the Reebok team finished service on his car. Jeff Ward in for yet another visit here at lap number 33. So pit stop's the name of the game here. Dr. Jack Miller, you see him on pit road coming straight at you. There's Wardy's team back in yet again. He was in at lap 32 and now again here at lap number 33.
Would be interesting to maybe our guys in the pits, Bobby or Vince, maybe we get to the Kelly team and ask them what happened to Mark Dismore in that situation, why they waited longer than everybody else.
Now watch this. Here's Kenny Brack coming out of the pit lane.
Again, he doesn't have room. The tire, the car in front of him, they got a tire out and there wasn't room to get by. I don't believe these are real tight pits. I mean, these things are set up for the stock cars, so there shouldn't be that kind of problem develop.
Meanwhile, the big Texan is down there watching his team's work. A.J. Foyt, an update from him.
Well, A.J. Foyt's team and Greg Ray had some problems with the fuel hose. I believe A.J. communicating with Greg right now, but they took particular interest in the replay that we showed them on TNN. A.J., what happened on that stop?
Well, actually, we're trying a new fuel nozzle deal, and it just got us in trouble, but we'll be all right. He was a little bit too far out. The tire was out there, and like I told the crew, forget that it ever happened because we've got a long ways to go, and it ain't no sense worrying about the first stop. That's racing, and I told them just get their heads back together. We'll be all right.
Pep talk from A.J. Foyt. His driver, Greg Ray, still in solid position.
As you see on the restart now, everybody working themselves through that bright orange and blue machine. Andy Michner, he is the rookie in for the injured Eliseo Salazar, who was injured at Dover in the practice accident a weekend ago. And Michner, a rookie, was down here in the Charlotte area, was going to go home Thursday. They called him, said, you want to run the car? He said, you give me a couple of dollars and an airplane ticket home when the weekend's done, I'll do it. But there is Sharp now, who has made the move and taken the lead away from Michner. So Sharp now shows the way with Lazier in second, Kenny Brack, and then Michner here on the restart at lap number 36.
Well, here's a battle for second. Kenny Brack coming back through the troops right underneath Lazier. So one of the Foyt's team car is got in and out of the pits decent, and he's going back to the front.
And we're riding with Buddy Lazier right here.
You can hear on the radio they're talking about traffic.
Tony Stewart has just come back out onto the racetrack. Leaders go by Jimmy Kite and that other purple car you saw. There goes Cheever. And the blue
Cheever
and teal
underneath
car.
Goodyear, yeah, and the Rachel's car right underneath the Pennzoil car.
So that's on the fifth, and there you ride with Scott Goodyear now.
Well, look at the front. Cheever's looking for a way to get around traffic. Eddie's, he looked high, looked low, but there was no place to go.
Stefan Gregoire, you see him going by in the two-tone blue machine. And as we mentioned, Tony Stewart is out there running again, making a couple of laps at reduced pace. There's a good fifth-place scramble again. Cheever, Goodyear, and Dismore.
Well, you can see it's not taking Dismore long to get through the pack here. He's all the way up to fifth or sixth at this point.
And then again, Kenny Brack up front. He makes the move and grabs the lead from Scott Sharp at 217 miles an hour. Brack 5 miles an hour quicker than Sharp on that last tour around the mile and a half. And there Dismore makes the move around Goodyear. So move Dismore up to sixth, Goodyear back to seventh. Running with Scott Sharp now.
You can see there he just shifted gears. He changed the gear position. Again, they've got 2 or 3 high gears that they can select from. And he just chose a different combination than he had before he got past.
The winner at Dover Downs International Speedway, you read the numbers, 209.
Again, that's a screen on the, it's a digital situation. He can punch up any kind of readings he wants. If he wants temperatures, he can see that. If he wants speeds, he pushes the button and gets, that's what he's on now. So they've got a lot of technology in these cars, and they can really see a lot of what's happening.
And there you see the telemetry. Remember, the rev limiter is at 10,000 RPM.
And again, you saw him select a different gear, so I'm not sure they've had a stop now. Maybe they're not happy with their fuel mileage and got to reduce the RPM.
There's a great battle with Dismore in that red machine moving around Cheever. That'll be fourth spot changing hands, but they've got the lap car of Guthrie just ahead of them. They'll have to woe it down just a second. and get around him. And you see Tony Stewart right there back in the mix.
Well, whatever we thought Stewart's deal was a little more serious than that, but I'm not sure if they added oil because they left a lot out there, but it's back at speed.
Now Vincey's 6 laps down, but at least he's out there.
Tony Stewart just brake on his oil pump. He had a fitting brake on his oil pump. Larry Curry said the car should be strong. The problem is, obviously, they lost 6 laps with that, but it's not a major mishap, just a fitting broke on the oil pump. He should be out until something else happens.
Well, again, that could be, you know, related to the roughness of these racetracks, and I don't know if it's the same piece they had at Dover last week, but that causes a problem.
Look at Lazier. He's down to 195 miles an hour now, so he is some 16, 17 miles an hour off the pace. The Reebok team goes by. That was Michener. Ray goes by as we ride with Lazier. He's down to 192 miles an hour. And being bypassed, he's all the way back to 8th. There goes Goodyear, so he's back to 9th. So something amiss.
Yeah, I don't know if he's lost a cylinder or what, because he's using a lot of all the throttle he's got. It's just not going very fast.
Vince, what are you hearing?
Down in Ron Himmelgarn's area, Team Lazier. What's the matter, Ron?
I can't hear you right now.
What's the matter, Ron?
We're experiencing some fuel pressure problems in the car, so we're not sure exactly what's happening, but the fuel pressure is starting to drop on us.
And Buddy's been communicating onto the radio that it's been very rough out there. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. There's some bumps out there pretty good. The car's moving around quite a bit, but we'll get a hand. We're going to pit right now and change the tires and check on a few things. So he's coming in right now.
Here comes Lazier.
And let's see what the team is able to find. But again, with everybody else going 215 miles an hour, even a semi-routine pit stop, Tom Sneva, is devastating.
Yeah, it is. I think what they're going to check on is what's on TV later tonight.
You saw Lazier putting his hand up saying, don't know what the problem is. Meanwhile, Kenny Brack is in traffic. That is he to the inside in the power team entry. He'll pick his way around Stevie Reeves, the rookie, making his IRL debut here tonight. You got to be quick, but you got to show some patience also.
Well, especially in traffic. But it's nice when you're running up front, when you have a car that you know can go, it's a lot easier from a driver's standpoint because he can pick and choose his spots. The guys that run 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they've got to press the issue. They've got to try to close the gap. But when you've got a good race car and you know you got a good race car, you can be a lot more conservative in traffic.
Jeff Ward in that orange and white machine. He's running in 9th. Stefan Gregoire is that blue car. He is 2 laps down in 16th position. Then you come to the red car of Greco and then Paul as they work themselves through race traffic here on lap number 50.
And that's Jeff Ward, that orange and white car. The blue car, Stefan Gregoire, and John Paul Jr. right in the middle of this bit.
If you're an Andy Michener fan, they are in for a pit stop here at lap number 50, an unscheduled stop for that Reebok car.
Yeah, we might want to check what that's all about because they were just in a few laps ago, so I don't know if he felt he had a tire going down or what.
There again, Tony Stewart, middle of the screen, just joining us. An oil fitting problem earlier in the evening. He is now being shown still 6 laps down in 20th position.
That's real tough when you lose 5 or 6 laps in a race and you know your shot for the win is dissipated severely. It's hard to get real racy, and it's a tough situation. You can't afford to take too many chances, but he's got to try to make points.
If you're curious about Mark Dismore, who led earlier, he now finds himself better than 6 seconds off the pace being set by that white power team entry. There is Dismore working himself through traffic now in the Kelly machine. Let's get an update from their pit area.
All right, Eli. Mark Dismore is now up to 3rd, but the question for Ron Hector, crew chief, is why did you guys wait an extra lap to come in for the pit stop?
Basically, we weren't quite towards our pit window yet, and at the last minute we decided to come in. We were already past pit entrance, which is in entering turn 3. I don't really think it hurt us too bad. Obviously, Mark's got a really good car, and we have all the confidence in him. He's back up to third, like you say, so we're looking forward to a good finish here.
Mark is charging, and that should answer your question, Tom Sneva. There was some speculation in both Dismore and Sharp's pit before the race that they would try to make this a 3-stop race.
Yeah, that's, you know, things happen in a hurry. They got to make split-second decisions out there. When to fuel, and like I said, they were trying to hope and stretch it, get to their fuel window, but when they saw all the other leaders pit, it sort of dictated what they were going to have to do.
And the leader is Kenny Brack in that power team entry. Earlier this year, he led a lap at Walt Disney World, led 23 laps at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but hasn't finished better than third. He did that at Texas here on TNN back in June. Well, a battle for second as the Kelly cars, the Delphi Automotive entry and the Kelly machine battle basically nose to tail. Working for second spot. They are already good 7 seconds, though, behind Kenny Brack as we look from Sharp back towards Mark Dismore.
Yeah, this has got to be a tough situation from an owner. Actually, Dismore ran up in the back of Sharp. He's actually a little bit quicker, but now they're in traffic, and the air off of Sharp's car is holding Dismore up right now. So it's sort of a catch-22. Brack is about 3 or 4 seconds out. This teammate might be holding up the other one a little bit, and that gets real frustrating.
We're at lap 63 of 2:08. 2 cautions if you're just joining us. Raul Boisel lost an engine at lap number 9, and then Tony Stewart with the oil pump fitting problem at lap 29. Watch the spread here. That's Breck right there, the race leader. And you'll pull all the way back towards that second and third place battle that we were talking about a while ago. It is some 7 seconds in arrears. And you'll see what that looks like at some 214 miles an hour. Still waiting, and there they come right now, just behind Stefan Gregoire in that blue machine and the rest of that traffic. So there you see what 7.5 seconds looks like from first place back to second and third. And Breck is in his Dover car, by the way, Tom. They had a bunch of bolts and stuff that were pushed out by the vibration and what have you, but they tore it all the way down and made some body part replacements and so on.
Right. Well, actually, Breck ran real good at Dover. He had a problem early. They had a fuel injector problem, and so they had to stop early. They got down a bunch of laps, and I know Kenny was real frustrated because he thought he had a race car that was quicker than anybody all day at Dover. But again, he got down early and really couldn't force the issue.
There you see second and third place, still 7 1/10 seconds behind the race leader. They go around Jim Guthrie's machine as Bobby Gerald has been updating us from the Sharp pit area. Bobby?
Eli, Scott Sharp just radioed to his crew a few moments ago and told his engineer, David Cripps, that he was suffering from a little bit of a push situation out on the racetrack. So my question would be for Tom Sneva. Tom, as the night starts to cool down and it just starts to cool off a little bit, how does that play into the handling of the race cars, and what sort of adjustments would we look for from Sharp's team once he comes into the pits next time?
Yeah, well, actually, as it gets cooler, it really should help the whole handling characteristic. The cars actually will get a little bit faster on the racetrack. You see him split traffic there. It gave Dismore a chance on the outside. And if Sharp's got a little push condition, that means he's got to lift in the corner a little bit. The car won't turn as well as he'd like. He's got to roll out of the throttle. Now, if you don't roll out of the throttle, you heat up the right front tire. The hotter the right front tire gets, the more push you get. And that's probably why Dismore was able to get around.
So there you see Sharp in third right there. He's got Cheever behind him in fourth, just 0.3 of a second separating them. There you see Gregoire in the blue. Sharp, we ride with him right now. And looking forward from the Delphi Automotive entry, riding in third place.
Here's Cheever now. Cheever's come all the way up to put a little pressure on Sharp.
Eddie told us earlier today during the rain delay that this is not a place for the faint of heart. He said, I'm starting 12th. I'm going to the front quickly if I can.
What's real interesting to watch qualify, some of these teams don't qualify as well as others, but Cheever, God.
We're watching Eddie, and there it goes up in smoke. Running in 4th place, Indy 500 champion Eddie Cheever.
Well, again, they always run best just before they let go, and that's got to be disappointing for the Rachel's team.
And caution on the speedway at lap number 71. Eddie Cheever. No sooner had we bragged on him. It's kind of like being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. We brag on a guy and he goes up in smoke. And Bobby, a lot of long faces down there in the Rachel's pit.
That's right. I'm with Owen Snyder. And Owen, we saw the big puff of smoke. What did he say?
I said motor, you know. I mean, that was pretty close, but you know, we're running good.
You were certainly running good. Is this a terminal problem?
Well, I would say so. I would say so. Yeah, anytime they throw out that much, it's usually something really wrong with it. So, you know, we'll have a look, but I think we're done for the day, you know.
Tough break for Owen Snyder and Eddie Cheever and his team. Keep in mind, though, guys, we did see the smoke earlier big time from Tony Stewart, and he was able to get back out in the fight.
But Eddie apparently thinks it's done. And you know something? These stock block V8s last year, Tom, they were waiting and looking for reliability. And now that they have found the reliability, it seems as though the teams now, like racers will, are starting to take a few more liberties, and the engines are starting to pop.
Well, they got to push them to the limit, and sometimes they don't find the exact limit. But you could see Bobby's question to Owen sort of startled him. What did he say in the radio? And Eddie's pretty vocal on the radio. I'm sure he didn't say just motor. I'm sure there's some other stuff that Owen couldn't tell us about.
That'll be the 4th DNF of 1998 for Eddie Cheever, though the first due to pure engine failure. As you look at the race leader, Kenny Breck, who took over the top spot here at Charlotte from Andy Michner in a series of stops back at lap number 26. Let's go back to pit road.
Well, there's Tony Stewart, and Tony, it's another disappointing night for you. And I know this is so frustrating. I mean, and you've had that question thrown at you before. What ultimately put you out tonight, and what do you think this does now to the title chances?
Well, we had something in the motor go. We had I don't know exactly what was leaking early in the race, but they got it changed. We got back out, and you know, we're out there running in 6th gear, which is our cruise gear to save fuel and to turn the car less revs. And we blew by Dismore, we blew by Sharp. I mean, we've got the fastest car. I mean, I can't thank Team Menard enough, and Larry Curry and the guys. I mean, they give me great race cars, and makes my job a lot easier as a driver. But you know, it's hurting us in the points right now for sure. I mean, I guess right now we're going to have to shift our focus to worrying about finishing races instead of winning a point championship. I mean, we never really change our plan on how we race anyway as far as the points go, but we're just in a string of bad luck right now. I mean, when we finish well, and you know, we got a great race team here, and these guys are, you know, with the V6s that we used to have to run, they had this disappointment a lot, and they're really a strong team. They gel together well, and they're not going to let this get us down. We'll get back on track soon.
All right, well, I wish all the fans watching on TV tonight could have seen this guy last night behind the wheel of a midget. Sorry to see you out, Tony.
Yeah, too bad we can't run a midget out there right now.
That'd be exciting.
It would be the 3rd DNF of the year for Tony Stewart. He had, of course, the failure at Indianapolis. We were all riding with him at the time, as you might remember, on the telecast, and also at Texas. Well, tough weekend.
It really is. And, you know, it's like, for a racer, it's a little bit like, you know, you're real fast. You know you're real fast, but you don't finish. It's a little bit like in golf when you can drive the ball 300 miles or 300 yards, but you can't putt it.
Yeah, I understand that. Nor can I drive nor putt, so I know exactly of what you're speaking. Pit stops now. The race leader is in on the top of the screen. You've got Dismore in the middle and Scott Sharp on the bottom of that triple split. Let's see what they do. Lap 76. A.J. Foyt's crew for Breck. Quick work there. You see Goodyear coming in just in front of...
Well, you see the confusion. They had trouble with the air gun on the right front of Kenny Breck's car. So another pit stop problem for the Foyt team.
And Sharp is going to win the exchange. He and Dismore will drag race it off the pit lane.
So I guess this time it's Kenny Breck's problem, having a problem, time to have a problem in the pits, and his teammate Greg Ray beats him back out of the pits.
And Ray had the problem earlier, if you weren't with us, when the fuel hose chose not to disengage. John Paul Jr. has problems also in that Jonathan Byrd Visionaire car.
Well, they're trying to get the starter over there and get it plugged in.
All of this at lap 76. We go back to pit road.
And let's give you an update, guys, as John Paul just gets out of the pit in Jonathan Bird's machine on Mark Dismore. When Dismore came in, they gave it a big turn of front wing, added front wing for Mark Dismore. We also anticipated the same thing coming from Scott Sharp. That was after a conversation with his engineer, David Cripps. He said they were going to add a little front wing to try to get rid of that push.
So that's the story on the pit lane. We are 76 laps into the 208 laps that make up the Visionaire 500. The Pep Boys Indy Racing League is live tonight here on TNN Motorsports. The of the Visionaire 500 is being brought to you by Peerless Faucets, the do-it-for-yourself faucet. Let's step back to 1 year ago, the inaugural Visionaire 500. Buddy Lazier, the eventual winner, but not before this thrilling 200-mile-an-hour battle through traffic with Billy Boat in the number 8 Conseco car. Then June of this year, blinding speeds at Texas Motor Speedway. This time it is Greg Ray who must settle for second as Boat in the green Conseco car takes the trip to victory lane at the True Value 500. But then on lap 92 at the New Hampshire International Speedway, the New England 200, Billy Boat met with misfortune. In that accident, he suffers a broken left femur. It's left him sidelined for this year's Visionaire 500. But we are tickled to be able to welcome him to the broadcast booth here this evening. Though, Billy, we'd much rather be talking about you out there on the racetrack. Great to have you along here tonight.
Thanks, Eli. I can't say I'm happy to be here, but it's nice being up here in the booth with you.
Quite a run right there for a fella you know well, the Power Team entry, your A.J. Foyt teammate. They have run awfully well.
Absolutely. You know, Kane and I had lunch today, and he said he was ready to go, and I think he's fired up.
But, Vince, they had a problem on the pit stop moments ago, and they're back in 6th. What's the deal?
Well, you see the air gun right here. They had an air gun failure on the right front, and it cost them a lengthy stop. Otherwise, they were just going to add a little wing in the front. Otherwise, the run has been terrific. Tommy LeMans told Kenny Breck, don't worry about it. We've got a long way to go. Be patient. We'll get back to the front.
And the green obviously displayed here at lap number 80, complete on the board of 208. Scott Sharp is the race leader. Jeff Ward is second. Mark Dismore is third. That yellow car for Goodyear is fourth. Breck is now moving up into the 5th spot as he bypasses Greg Ray on the start. And Billy Boat, it's got to be so tough, not only just being out here, but just watching somebody else in your ride, even though you know you're going to be back in time for the next race at Pikes Peak.
Absolutely. It's kind of like having somebody else take your girlfriend to the prom. You know, it's you got to sit back and watch. And, you know, Greg's doing a great job tonight in the Conseco car, but I definitely like to be out there.
Look at this, 4 wide here at Charlotte.
Well, it's not taking Kenny long to make up for the pit stop problem. I mean, he's just running right around the bottom of the racetrack, Eli, and going to the front.
You know, when we tested here, we both had great race cars, and I think Kenny really feels a lot of confidence right now, and I think he's looking to go back to the front.
You know, the weird thing we were talking before, Billy Boat, the fact that both of AJ's teams have practiced pit stops here, and though you're the two teams that have had problems here tonight, it's strange how that happens.
It is. You know, AJ was very adamant about having good pit stops tonight, and now we've had problems a couple times, but they'll come back from it.
Riding with Scott Goodyear, you see Greg Ray going by in the Conseco colors there to the left of your screen. He's in 5th, Ray is. Goodyear in that yellow Pennzoil Panther running in 6th.
Well, you noticed a couple of these restarts, Greg Ray hasn't come up to speed quite as quick as some of the other guys. It takes him a lap or two to get going. So, Billy, any idea what that might be?
The only thing I can think of is maybe he's having a little bit of trouble shifting the car. Maybe they're missing a gear, or he's lost a gear in the car, and he's just having trouble getting the RPM up.
Once he gets it going, though, he heads back towards the front of the pack.
With Scott Goodyear moving inside of the rookie Stevie Reeves, who in that instance did a very good job just holding his line, letting the faster cars get by. And here goes second spot now. Breck is to the inside of Dismore, who's to the outside.
Well, you can see Breck's car wiggling. He's down low. It's real tight down there. You got to pinch the car a little bit. And it got maybe a couple more wobbles than he wanted to feel out of that thing.
I think Kenny got on the brakes real hard right there. What he had was behind that lap car, and it got a little exciting, I think, for him for a minute.
Yeah, you have Tice Carlson there in that car that's painted like Tony Stewart's machine. Was one of Tony's backups a week ago at Dover, and they just didn't really want to force the issue there.
Well, Kenny will wait a half a lap or two, wait for the heartbeats to come down slightly before he goes back after him, Eli.
Took over the lead. at lap number 40 the first time, as Buddy Lazier now is back on the racetrack after extensive repairs. He's only run 51 of the 87 laps thus far, but the Hemmelgarn team has him back in the race now.
We can find out. There's a red light.
There's Pratt. Right now, 3.5 seconds off the race leader, Scott Sharp.
I think it's kind of interesting. The top 6 cars right now are running Goodyear tires. So I think Goodyear's really done their homework at this racetrack to build a good tire for these guys.
Well, Goodyear has actually been a little more consistent towards the top. I mean, the Firestone's been quick with Stewart qualifying on the pole, but the rest of the cars all up front were on Goodyear's.
8th and 9th on your screen there. You saw Marco Greco and Brian Tyler just nearly tangle moments ago.
Well, they run into those corners two abreast, Eli, and you know they don't have to wiggle too much. These guys don't have fenders they can lean on each other like the Cup cars. So I don't know if they close their right eye so they don't see each other or what they're doing.
Picking their way through race traffic. Again, going inside of Stevie Reeves. Dr. Jack Miller at the tail end of that line. In the only Nissan Infiniti still running. Jimmy Kite had one, but he parked it back on lap number 29. In the Olds Aurora, the dominant power plant on the circuit, though I think Nissan has made some ground up, have they not?
Yeah, they really have. They've been working real hard. It's real tough when you only have one team running the equipment. You know, your R&D time increases substantially. So, but they have gained. They've lightened the motor up. They've closed the gap on the horsepower, and you know, now it's just a matter of time getting more cars involved.
That black machine, Donnie Beechler, he's running in 11th spot right now. He wasn't here yesterday. Again, he was back home. His wife had a baby yesterday, a girl. They took 2 laps of practice with Jimmy Kite at the wheel, but basically he said, I have very few laps. They lost an engineer in practice the other day. They're somewhat untested, but running well. That man is not untested. That's Scott Sharp, a veteran, a winner a week ago, and leader tonight here in Charlotte. New leader here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as Mark Dismore took the lead from Scott Sharp just a handful of laps ago. As he went off into the corner, Tom Sneva, was actually fairly effortless.
Well, there's a little bit of traffic here, and Sharp might have had to roll out just an ounce, but Dismore had to run off the corner and just blast by. You can see the traffic, though. I mean, these guys are hustling these cars down in the corner, but look at Dismore. Right in the middle of the corner, he's able to get back after the throttle and just drive around these guys.
Third time he has led here today. Led laps 24 through 30. Again, lap 32. And Vince, the Kelly bunch is awfully excited.
That's right, Donna Dismore. You're looking at her now, Mark Dismore's wife, as she watches the replay of Mark passing Scott Sharp. And maybe the most cautiously optimistic man at the racetrack is Tom Kelly, the owner of both those cars. It's a good feeling seeing your guys run 1-2.
Yeah, I just don't want them to race too hard against each other. We want them both to finish, but they're really, both cars are running well and couldn't be more pleased.
How does this work for you to your advantage as teammates running 1 and 2?
Well, number one, we can tell how the cars are handling and compare notes on that, but they can sort of watch for each other and help each other out, hopefully, before the end of the race comes. So it does definitely help us to have both cars up front.
Tom Kelly of Kelly Racing, his team's is 1-2 right now with Mark Dismore and Scott Sharp.
And Billy, you know, we've not talked much about, let alone the car that you will be driving, but that guy right there, Jeff Ward, that orange and white machine, cutting his way through traffic pretty well.
Yeah, Wardy's been running real fast. Looked like he got held up in traffic just a little bit there, and Greg got a run on him, and I think they're going to be racing for that position real shortly.
Well, actually, Ward is very fast, and Greg's right there. Traffic's always a factor, and who anticipates and predicts it the best is the guy that's going to get through the cleanest.
It'll be halfway next time by as Andy Michner makes an unscheduled pit stop. That's at lap 103 as that Reebok car is in. There you see the rundown, top left of the screen.
Oh, gee. That
could have been big time right there.
That's right down the straightaway. You get flipping there, and you're not going to stop till maybe February.
I bet Dismore's heart's beating right now. What do you think?
I would think, definitely. As we see a great second-place battle shaping up there as Breck in that white machine inside of Sharp got him for second spot.
Well, I think it surprised Sharp a little bit. You saw him wiggle to the outside. That usually indicates that he was real surprised by that move.
Look how smooth Sharp is on the wheel there as we see the leader Dismore go around John Paul Jr. When we got that look at Sharp there seconds ago, very much like a week ago.
Trouble. There's Sharp.
Sharp in problems.
So Donnie Beechler involved too.
Yeah, he caught Beechler. Beechler just got nicked as a result of that.
Caution on the speedway, lap 105.
That's Beechler there. You can see the right rear tire where he got hit. It's knocked the tire off the rim.
So Scott Sharp right there. And Donnie Beechler. Tangle coming off turn number 4.
Well, Scott's getting out of the car. That's always a good sign. But you can see the right rear removed from the vehicle. Came to rest pretty close to where the vehicle stopped.
Yeah, that's right there coming off of turn 4. And it's definitely very bumpy there. Any little altercation real easy to get in the fence.
It's also a spot on the racetrack where habitually, even if your car's handling well, it tends to push.
Right.
The track tends to push on you. We'll take a look at it again. From up high, you'll see what happened in the corner.
Sharp is behind Breck. You can see the thing just gets loose.
He just got loose.
That's what happened.
Donnie was a victim in that one.
Yeah. Donnie's just trying to get by. Look at this. But
Right
Sharp,
there.
he comes off the wall pretty fast, and Beach just didn't have enough room to get by. But he ran up. Sharp was actually running up on the back of Kenny Breck, and I don't know if he had to roll out of the throttle a little bit or whatever, but the back end just jumped sideways.
Let's watch this with
Right
Sharp.
there over that bump, I bet.
Oh, you can see he was down on the apron there. That caused him one wiggle.
Right there.
Or that caused Breck to wiggle.
Not too big a hit for Scott.
No, that was like that could have been a lot worse than it was.
Right.
But I don't know if you noticed, right in front of Sharp at that time, Kenny Breck actually got down on the apron, and it caused his car to wiggle. Now, I don't know if that caused Sharp to have to jump out of the throttle or not.
If he jumped right out of the throttle right over that bump, it may have helped to get him a little bit loose.
So caution on the speedway for the 4th time this evening. It comes out at lap 106. We're just past halfway in the Visionaire 500. Mark Dismore is your leader.
You can't turn it sharp enough.
You can't.
Bridgestone Potenza lie the twists and turns of the legendary
On Paul's machine backwards.
You heard the spotter helping him out. Still there, clear.
Riding with Buddy Lazier now as Michener goes by and Dismore go by to the inside. Again, Lazier, he has completed only 84 of the 122 laps. He's back in 19th spot.
It's a good shot if you watch Buddy's helmet there when he's coming off in turn 4. His teeth are going to hurt when this race is over.
No question about it. His back hurts from Dover, and it doesn't feel like it's going to get any better before this weekend's over.
I think they got a lot of goodies headache powder down here, don't they?
Yeah, they do that. The leader, Jeff Ward, turning the second quickest laps of the track right now. There he is. The 4th race he has led this year. He finished 2nd at the Walt Disney World Speedway and is now 7th in points, while Greg Ray sits and waits. As we can sing a battle that is not for position, but it's great racing on the track. Lazier in the purple machine, having just finally blown by the man we are riding with, John Paul Jr., who, as you see, is in 8th spot. Again, like you said before, Tom, maybe not for position, but these guys are going at it hammer and tong.
They got a yellow. You can see the lights on the in-car right above the steering wheel inside John Paul's car. They're blinking on. That indicates to the driver there's a yellow on the racetrack.
Tice Carlson right there, and turn number 2 comes to a stop. That's the car that Steve Knapp would have driven, but in that rule that the Indy Racing League has, I guess the best way to call it might be a 7-day knockout rule or something. After getting a slight concussion a weekend ago at Dover, Dr. Bach just wouldn't clear Knapp to drive, so Tice Carlson took over for the weekend.
Yeah, Knapp hit the wall real hard out at Dover, obviously, but I don't know how these doctors tell when these drivers are not goofy and when they are, you know?
How do you tell where they started at?
Really?
Yeah. Dr. Bach's pretty good, though. He's been a little more on the conservative side. You know, I wanted to run here, and he told me I probably shouldn't. But you know, they take really good care of you. The whole IRL staff does, so they do a great job.
And if they err on the side of conservatism, you really can't argue with that. Meanwhile, we talked a lot about Davey Hamilton in the pre-race segment of the show. The Reebok car right there. It's a Delora this weekend. After the first 6 races, they had the G-Force chassis. But Vince, very honestly, they've been a quiet top 10 today. What are you hearing from them?
Well, and you talked about them moving back. They're having some throttle problems, and one of the things that really compounds that problem, not only does it cause you trouble out on the track, but when the team comes into pit, they have to turn the engine off every time. And of course, you know you're going to lose time in the pits when you got to shut it down. So this is certainly something that the Neon-House Motorsports team is going to struggle with throughout the rest of the evening, where they got to get it fixed quickly.
We heard on the radio early, Davey was having the throttle hang up on a little bit. He was actually having to pull it back with his toe, and the crew, they play mental games with the driver a lot of times. They say, don't worry, when the thing gets warmed up, that problem's going to go away, and I'm not sure it has.
I can tell you what Davey was thinking on that comment.
Right.
We are under caution here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the 5th time. Tice Carlson's machine spun and stopped in turn 2. The top 4 currently on the lead lap. In time for the green flag here in the Visionaire 500. The Pep Boys IRL here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, live on TNN Motorsports. Jeff Ward is the race leader. Kenny Brack, Scott Goodyear, Mark Dismore, the only 4 drivers on the lead lap. 5th is Harry Lyondike. Tyler is 6th. Paul is 7th. Old Wardy didn't take long to get gone.
No, it's always easy when you got clean air in front of you. It's easy to get a little bit of a jump on some of the other guys out there. But there's some good racing back in the pack right now, and Greg Ray's back out there, so I'm not sure how many laps he lost, Eli.
Ray right now being shown in 15th spot. He is 15 laps down. Meanwhile, Bobby Gerald is down on pit road. Let's get an update.
We're standing alongside Mitch Davis, who is the team manager for Jeff Ward. And so far, so good. It's come into your game plan exactly. You'll have to make, what, one more stop?
Yeah, we're going to make one more stop. Right now we're racing with Kenny Brack and Scott Goodyear, and I think we got them covered. So if we get this one more window in, we'll be right on the money.
They'll be hoping for a yellow flag, Eli, sometime right after lap number 150. Matter of fact, he's got it circled. Lap 158 on the chart. That's when he wants to see that yellow.
They can take it to the house from there. If you're a Tice Carlson fan, by the way, they are still out there running in 14th position, being shown 10 laps down. And as you see the leader, how about a nice tip of the hat to Stevie Reeves, an IRL debut here tonight, and he's running in 9th spot right now for the rookie. It's a darn good show.
Yeah, it really is, and you know, he's being real careful and cautious out there and trying to keep the thing out of trouble and just trying to get laps, because that's real important in any kind of racing, Eli.
Track familiarity has to help, though, too, Billy, with him having run a number of NASCAR Busch Series races here. I'm sure Reeves can bank on that just a little bit for some comfort level.
Absolutely. You know, and Stevie's probably every lap he's running, he's getting more comfortable, he's getting more confidence. He's going to be a force in this league before it's all done.
In the Who's Hot department, we talked of Reeves. Harry Lyondike is in 5th. He is a lap down, though. And there's the man who's showing the way, Jeff Ward.
Well, who's hot right now is Kenny Brack, because he's closed the gap on Ward. Now, whether he's got enough to get by, this is going to be fun to watch.
I think Mitch might have been a little optimistic that he had Kenny covered there.
Well, you saw his eyes darting around. He wasn't, you know, you can say one thing, but what you really feel might be something else.
We're within shouting distance of another pit stop, though, Tom Sneva, certainly. What in the world does Brack think about, and let alone Greg Ray, who right now is in 15th? But what does Breck think about? They've had problems of some sort on virtually every stop. As we watch 3rd and 4th place, Goodyear and Dismore, are they basically dreading their upcoming pit stop or what?
Well, hopefully they've straightened it out, but what might have happened is it looks like where they marked their pits, Breck was actually forward in the pit box, and it looks like Goodyear probably set his pits up the mark so it's back in the pit box. So it helped their team, it helped the Voigt team out because Greg Ray's right behind him. So the teammates gave each other room, but what it caused is Breck to move forward. Goodyear, the car in front of him in the pits, moved back, and it makes a real tight pit box and exit strategy for Kenny Brack.
Now we got A.J. Foyt over in Kenny Brack's pit, so there might be a little bit of manipulating going on over there. A.J. getting things straightened out for this next pit stop.
Well, it'd be real interesting, Billy, if we could get you to communicate with Foyt and maybe have him move Kenny back in his pit box to help him out in the next stop.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't need that kind of problem yet.
Pit stops for some. Andy Michner is back in as you watch smoke coming out from Dismore's machine.
Wow.
Caution on the speedway as there will be no mosquitoes in turns 1 and 2 here at Charlotte. They've just fumigated for all of them. What a heartbreaker for Dismore.
That's a tough deal.
Oh, man.
He's had that throughout his racing career. A lot of strong runs, but not much to show for it.
He did have a great run going. He was one of the quickest cars on the track. That is very disappointing for that whole team.
Mark Dismore going off into turn number 1. The engine expires. He'll join Raul Boisel, Jimmy Kite, Tony Stewart, Eddie Cheever, Jim Guthrie, Scott Sharp, and Donnie Beechler behind the wall here in the Visionaire 500 on TNN Motorsports. If you're just tuning in, Dismore's led many a lap here this evening and did so in pretty dominating fashion, too.
Yeah, in various segments, but you know, the competition's so close. These guys make adjustments on the stops and get their problems corrected, and you know, so that's just great racing.
Meanwhile, Jeff Ward is the leader. Just yesterday, we asked him his impressions of racing here in Charlotte, where motorsports is definitely king.
I don't even think there's any place in the United States, maybe besides Daytona or Indianapolis, that has such a racing background where everywhere you go, it's racing. You see something about cars or faces of the drivers in the restaurants, and it's pretty neat to go there and have the community so involved in racing as those other places. So it's neat to come here, and the enthusiasm of the crowd and the spectators, and it just makes it real nice for the drivers to come here and perform.
See, well, there's Ward, but you saw Breck and Goodyear come in together. Those are the two that have been squashed up together every time they've been in.
You know, I think if you look, I think there's more room in between the cars now where they may have either moved Scott Goodyear forward or Kenny back. So he didn't have a problem like we did last time getting out of the pits.
Well, again, no problem that time. Nope. Breck gets out. Oh, that was close at the blend line.
Meanwhile, Vince Welch has caught up with the interim driver of the Conseco car, Greg Ray, done for the evening.
Greg Ray not smiling like he was when we talked to him before the race. What an adventuresome night for your team.
Yeah, I tell you what, the AJ Conseco team has done a great job all weekend long. You know, we led the race early, and I felt like we had a car that could win the race. I mean, we were just biding our time, and you know, I tell you what, again, my hat's off to AJ for giving me the chance to fill in for Billy Boat. Unfortunately, tonight I didn't do him any favors. I made a lot of mistakes out there, and I just can't tell you. It's been a long time since I've been this disappointed in myself.
Greg Ray, not happy, but he'll get other chances. He's a fine driver, and someone will put him in a seat, whether it's Thomas Knapp Motorsports the rest of the season or someone else down the line. Kenny Breck, I talked to team manager Tommy LeMans about whether or not they can go the distance on the fuel. He checked the board at lap 145, and he said, it's so close, we can't call it right now. Maybe we can make it, maybe we can't. It'll be right down to the wire.
Meanwhile, there's Mark Dismore's car. It's been towed back to the pit lane. Second straight engine failure for that team. Last week, they lost an engine at lap 43 at Dover, and their evening apparently done here after leading many, many times around. That is the race leader. Scott Goodyear has the Pennzoil Panther team in front. Goodyear, Kenny Breck, Jeff Ward, they are the front three. They are the only three currently showing on the lead lap as we see Breck now work himself through traffic. We ride with Scott Goodyear.
Kenny's got a strong race car right now.
He does.
He feels very confident.
He got held up a little bit in traffic on the restart, and Goodyear was able to hold him up for a corner or two, but Kenny got a great run off that last corner.
Once he works his way through this traffic, he's going to have some clear track, and he's going to be looking pretty good.
Well, he's not looking too bad right now. I mean, he's going away from Goodyear.
Breck at 210 miles an hour that last lap to Goodyear's 206. And Vince, it looked as though finally the pit stop was relatively uneventful, at least from this angle.
It was a great pit stop for Kenny Breck when he came in, and AJ was very happy with the power team performance. He said, he radioed to Kenny Breck and said, don't worry about the fact that Goodyear beat you out. Take him on the restart. And you saw it. Kenny Breck moved right around Scott Goodyear on cue from AJ Foyt.
When Goodyear led, he was the 8th different leader this evening. Kenny Breck now is back out in front.
This is out of the back of Goodyear, and and Jeff Ward is looking for a way to get round. Ward's a little bit quicker than Goodyear right now, but he's trying to size him up. Again, traffic's a problem getting around Marco Greco. It's playing the traffic is a big part of a driver's job.
It makes all the difference on these mile-and-a-half tracks. You lose your momentum just a little bit, you can make up a ton of ground.
And it's amazing, only 15 cars are running, but still traffic, particularly on the restarts, very much a problem.
Well, again, they're running 210, 215 miles an hour. They're covering a lot of real estate in a short amount of time, and if they have to blip the throttle, it can really kill momentum.
Absolutely.
Around inside of John Paul Jr. Meanwhile, Mark Dismore, having retired the Kelly entry moments ago when the engine failure took him out. Let's hear from him down in the garage.
Eli, it was so disappointing for Mark Dismore. What a great run you had going here today. We're sorry to see you out, Mark.
Yeah, it's just lately here I've been jinxed, and I'll just keep trying. You know, it looked like we were in a good position tonight to get a third of the way to the MCI $1 million deal, and you know, to move forward in the Pep Boy points, and didn't happen. So we'll go to Pikes Peak and see what we can do.
You were racing with Breck, Goodyear, and Ward out there at different times. Which of those three do you think is the strongest here to maybe bring it home?
Well, my car all by itself was really, really good. In traffic, it was a little bit sketchy, but I think for the way we had the thing strategized at the end, I think we would have, I think we had enough for everybody, to be honest with you, but we'll never know now.
Again, sorry to see you out.
Thank you.
You heard Mark Dismore talk about that MCI Pep Boys $1 million bonus. Remember, if any one driver wins here tonight and at Atlanta and at the Las Vegas race, all of which you'll see here on TNN Motorsports, then that driver and somebody out there, one lucky fan, will split $1 million. You can enter at any Pep Boys location or on the internet at mciracing.com. And if any driver wins 2 of the 3 TNN telecasts down the stretch, well, that driver and a lucky fan will split $100,000. So keep an eye on that when you go by your nearest Pep Boys location.
Well, we heard Dismore talk about his car was a little sketchy when it got in traffic. Ward is as quick as Goodyear. He catches him, but now the traffic, the turbulence off of Goodyear's car is causing Ward some trouble. And sketchy in traffic, I think that means you got to hold your breath a lot harder when you get in traffic.
When the cars lose the air off the front wings coming off the corner, especially coming off of turn 4, it really, you got to hold your breath because you know, you just don't know if the cars are going to turn.
That's exactly what happens. When you lose the air off the front, you lose the downforce at the front end of the car, and the car won't turn. So you've got 2 options. One's to try to knock the wall down, the other one's to lift.
But Vince, those guys are also 3.5 seconds behind the race leader now also.
Right, Eli. Talked with John Barnes just a moment ago from Scott Goodyear's crew. He said they didn't have anything for Breck when Breck got by him. They're not as quick as Kenny Breck, but they feel as though if they stay up in the front, near the front, they can win this race in the pits. They believe that their Pennzoil Panther team is quicker than the other teams in the pits, and if it comes down to a last pit stop, they feel as though they may have an advantage.
There you see the leader, and we'll go back 3 3/10 of a second from him to Scott Goodyear, and 3.5 seconds back from the leader Breck to Jeff Ward. Only 3 guys on the lead lap, and you've got Arie Luyendyk in 4th as you see that spread from the leader back to 2nd and 3rd. Arie is on a lap of his own in 4th. Then in 5th, John Paul Jr., Marco Greco, they are on their own lap, running 5th and 6th. You've got Stevie Reeves now up to 7th, ahead of Hamilton in 8th and Gregoire in 9th. But again, those 3 drivers all on their own lap. But some pretty good battles, particularly there, and a great run again for Stevie Reeves in his IRL debut tonight.
Well, and Vince hit on a good point. I talked to the crew and John Barnes with the Goodyear team before the race, and they're real proud of their team in the pit stops. They've worked real hard on it. They've won a lot of pit stop competitions throughout the year, and they say they can make up the difference. And if they get a green flag stop, it could be a big, big factor in how this race ends up.
Billy Bogey, you just have to finally just face reality, let the leader go, and worry about what you're dealing with right there.
I think you do. You know, you can't push the car any harder than you can.
John Paul Jr., he's running in 5th. He is slowing down at lap 165 within the fuel window, certainly, to take it the distance from here. But John Paul Jr. and the Visionaire team
Keep going. Okay, now come in.
had trouble spotting his pit stall.
Yeah.
2 turns out of front wing. 2 turns out of front wing.
Now they're saying two turns.
Reset fuel.
2 turns out of the front wing. That means the back of the car is loose, and drivers don't like to drive a loose race car. When the back end wants to step out, it's a very uncomfortable situation. We heard earlier a lot of the teams were putting front wing in, and when you put front wing in and run fast, it's a lot easier on the driver. But for whatever reason, that car's gone loose in John Paul, and that could be a handful of drive, can't it, Billy?
Absolutely, and it's kind of unusual to get loose at the end of the race here at Charlotte, because usually the car tends to tighten up. You know, when we ran here last year, we picked up a big push at the end, probably cost us the race. I think.
Yeah, so John Paul Jr.'s been in, Sam Schmidt's been in, Dr. Jack Miller, Andy Michner is in with the bonnet off the back of that automobile. We're at lap 167 of 208. Tice Carlson, after having a problem at the start-finish line, limped it all the way around to turn number 3, but he's not able to make it the rest of the way. So caution is out at lap 171, and obviously well within the window of going the rest of the way to lap 208. So caution for the 7th time as Jeff Ward runs in 3rd. Vince Welch has an update. Correct that, Bobby Gerald.
And Eli, here is the update, and they are rolling the dice here with Jeff Ward's team. Mitch Davis, who is the team manager, said that they needed just 1 yellow flag, and now as we say that, he had told us that they weren't going to come in, but we now see him starting to lay out for Jeff Ward. They will not need a lot of fuel here because Wardy's been racing the last few laps with the fuel dialed back to about 90%, so they were in conservation mode already. We do now, however, see them laying out for Jeff Ward, so we do maybe anticipate him coming in. We'll try to get a definitive word.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Lap 172 of 208 here at Charlotte. Everybody waiting and watching. Kenny Brackett the leader. Scott Goodyear second. That man Ward is third. They are the only 3 drivers on the lead lap. Harry Lyondike is running 4th, a lap down. Marco Greco is 5th. He is another lap down. We'll keep a close eye on all 3 of these teams as they make their stop.
I don't think Kenny's going to stop.
He didn't come in.
Didn't come in. I think they can make it on fuel, but it'll be interesting.
So no stop for Brack, but Goodyear and Ward are in, along with Lazier and Hamilton and Greco and Harry Lyondike.
No tires. No tires for Ward.
No, just fuel for Ward.
It's going to be disappointing for Kenny because the power team is ready for him, but they must have had a miscommunication. Wardy beats Scott Goodyear out.
Yeah, that's real interesting. Breck didn't come in. Again, I don't understand the theory, but maybe can they go the rest of the way, Billy?
You know, I don't know. It looks like they're ready for him to come in, but he didn't. You know, I don't know if they just had some kind of miscommunication or he didn't get the message. Maybe his radio's malfunctioning or something.
It'll be 1 lap to go when they get back to the stripe till they get green. All the leaders came in at lap 146, you'll remember. Now Breck is getting ready to make the stop, apparently.
Yeah, he's tucked down on the apron. This could be very costly.
It'll be very costly for him.
Of course, dealing with only 1 of 3 cars on the lead lap. That's something to remember.
Now, he's not going to have a lot of traffic to try to catch Scott Goodyear and Jeff Ward, but, you know, here at the end of the race, even a little bit is a lot.
Well, and traffic upsets the handling, and it slows the guy down. So if the leaders can get away far enough, they could cause him some stress.
Vince, he's in.
Yeah, Billy Boat hit it right on the head. It was a lack of communication. AJ had told Kenny to come in, and he did not. They were planning on the stop, and now Breck has got fuel. They've changed some tires, and he's still up on the jack. So now we'll see if Kenny Breck can make up that ground. Before the pit stop, AJ Foyt came to the crew, gave him a bit of a pep talk to make sure they had all their bases covered, and they came in. It wasn't a great stop. They gave 2 turns of wings, 2 turns of wing as well, 16.9, but they had to put the car back up on the jack a second time. Maybe a costly stop there.
Well, AJ's staying at the same hotel we are. I might just give him some room tonight, though.
Well, that's a bad break for that team, but it's going to be a good break for us because it's going to be a great show watching him try to go to the front right now.
He's going to be fired up, I guarantee you that much.
So it is the restart. Lap 175.
Jeff Ward, the third car back there, the orange and white car, trying to get his way through the traffic. Goodyear's right behind him, first and second.
Goodyear's that yellow machine. Ward gets around John Paul Jr., who is running in sixth, and there's Goodyear running by his lonesome.
Well, Ward's going to have some clean air now, and I think he was a little bit quicker than Scotty last time, but didn't have enough to get around. But now he's out in front in the clean air.
Goodyear gets around John Paul Jr. Behind them, you see it tangle there. Buddy Lazier still out there working in the purple machine. Manny laps down. He's in 16th spot.
Yeah, they had a problem early, but the car's as fast as anybody right now. This inside John Paul's car.
Watch his head. See it bouncing back and forth.
And that was on the straightaway that it moved around as much as anywhere. So I don't know if that's some air turbulence or what, but the wheel doesn't look too bad, as bad as his head did.
Now here's Kenny Brack. He's going to work inside of Stefan Gregoire. Gregoire himself is in ninth, 6 laps down. And Brack is 4 1/10 seconds behind the race leader, around Dr. Jack Miller. John Paul Jr. next to negotiate.
Well, you can see him right down in the bottom. He's able to jump back into the throttle quite a bit quicker than some of these other guys. So the car is hooked up, huh, Billy?
He's definitely got a good handling race car right now. The Power Team car is very good. You know, it's just going to be a matter of if Kenny can catch him in open racetrack. You know, you hate to see that big gap. And, you know, it's a lot to make up.
He's 4 1/10 behind still.
But what he really needs right now is some traffic. If Jeff Ward's got a lot of clear racetrack in front of him, if Kenny can get some traffic, he could make it up a lot quicker, but he's not going to have that advantage right now.
Well, again, late in the race with attrition and things like that, the traffic sometimes thins out a little bit, so it's not maybe sometimes as big a factor late in the race as it would be earlier.
Absolutely.
Ward began the year, Bobby Gerald, with a 2nd at Orlando and a 5th at Phoenix, but it's been downhill since then until tonight.
It would be huge if they could turn it around here, Eli. And on that last pit stop for Jeff Ward, they made a slight wing adjustment in the front, gave him a little more wing. They only added 5 gallons of fuel, but they already had some fuel on board. And the important thing to note here, guys, and I'd like for Billy Boat to talk about this a little bit, they've turned the dial now to full fuel, and his last lap was at better than 214 miles per hour. He's running about 3 or 4 miles per hour faster than he was when he had it at 90%, Billy.
Well, they want to run, you know, they got to have full power right now. They know Kenny Brack's trying to catch him, and they need to be running as fast as they can here at the end of the race. Fuel's not a consideration. They're not going to run out of fuel, so right now it's just the fastest guy's going to win this race.
Yeah, they actually got full power now. We noticed on the computer, Billy, you know, Ward's going a little faster, but Kenny Brack is 2 or 3 miles an hour quicker than what Jeff Ward's running right now, Eli, and so he's pressing the button down.
217 miles an hour plus as they get around Lazier. That is 2nd and 3rd, Goodyear and Brack. They are now 2 seconds behind the leader, so they are closing on Ward.
Well, it didn't take Kenny long to get to Goodyear, so let's see if Goodyear is going to present a big problem or a small problem for Kenny Brack.
He's catching him pretty quick, and he's running pretty fast.
This is out the back of Goodyear's car. This is for 2nd place.
Kenny's going to have to lift a little bit right there. But
well, you can see how much lower in the racetrack he's running. That's right in the middle of the corner just a minute ago, and he's able to run right around the bottom.
That's for 2nd place. Brack's got him at lap 184 of 208. And Vince Goodyear tried to hang with him, just finally had to give up.
Yeah, Eli, it's similar situation to what we told you about before when Goodyear didn't have anything for Kenny Brack for the lead earlier. It just does not have the power in this G-force to run with these guys tonight. They did not test here. They made slow progress during the course of the week. And as we mentioned, they felt if they could stay close and maybe win it in the pits, that would be their best chance. But obviously, they don't have the power to run with the front 2 cars out on this 1.5 mile track.
Well, they don't have the power, and now they're not going to get the green flag stop that they needed to maybe try to close the gap on these guys. So they've done a great job with the G-force. Again, Goodyear and the G-force chassis as compared to the guys on both sides of them in Dallara.
Isn't Jeff Ward has a G-force too, doesn't he?
That is correct. You're right.
Yeah, so he's for got that G-force of Jeff Ward's working very well. But Kenny's coming hard. He looks just like he's got fire in his eyes right now. If you know Kenny Brackus, fire in his eyes is pretty intense.
I've never figured out who's the translator, who's interpreting Swedish to Texan in that team.
I do that.
You do that?
I do that. Yeah, that's probably what happened on that stop. Kenny couldn't understand him.
20 laps to go for Jeff Ward, Bobby Gerald.
Eli, he does have the G-force chassis, but coming into this race, Mitch Davis and Jeff Ward both said that they had a killer motor in this number 35. Evidently, they found something in the development of their camshaft, and that's the reason why they thought their motor would serve as a little bit of an equalizer, even though they had the G-force, which is considered kind of second fiddle to the Delaras on the big racetracks.
So that's the technical end of things, but right now the numbers and stories are very simply put. Ward, Breck, and Goodyear. AJ's hoping his man can pick up one more spot. Back, Kenny Brack has just taken the lead at lap 195 from Jeff Ward. Brack, who made his pit stop out of sequence at lap 173, and some of the most daring racing we've seen, just powered his way to the front and then used Marco Greco's car as a pick to grab the top spot.
Well, it was a great job, and if Ward's got a killer motor in there, that's some form of Godzilla in Foyt's car right now.
Unbelievable. Kenny Brack, who has not finished higher than third in his Pep Boys IRL career, did that at Texas this year. We'll be looking at 10 laps to go when he gets back to the stripe next time by.
What?
Take a look at what went on over the last few moments in some battles for the lead. Watch this.
That's Kenny Brack's back a little ways now, but they get to traffic. As they get to traffic, Ward has got to get out of the throttle a little bit. And look at the run Kenny got on the outside, but now he's scraping. He's right up on the edge of the groove.
He's up in no man's land up there.
And that's white knuckles there.
And then this is for the lead with Greco and that red machine.
Again, Ward tries the high side. He gets up on the edge of that cushion, and it's just hard to get any kind of grip up there. And
Kenny's got a phenomenal race car.
The big man likes what he sees. A.J. Foyt can smell victory lane about 9 laps away.
Knocked his watch loose there. He was so excited on that pass.
Brack was 5th in this race last year.
Again, it was interesting. It took Kenny a few laps to get by. He closed the gap, but then he'd get in the turbulence. And if Wardy could have kept him back a few more laps, he might have been able to heat up the right front tire on Breck and really cause that pass not to happen. But they got to traffic, and that gave Kenny an opportunity to get a little bit of a run.
And Bobby, once he got by him, now he's pulling him by 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it was very interesting, Eli. Just a moment ago, Jeff Ward's guys all were out over the wall, laid out for Wardy to come in. He had reported a vibration in his number 35 machine. They've now come back over the wall, and I don't know if the vibration went away or what happened there, but apparently they've decided to go ahead and soldier on here to the finish because we only have about 8 laps to go.
Well, a lot of times, you know, in that traffic, you saw Ward was up very high. You get into the marbles, and you can pick that up on the tires, and sometimes that'll cause a vibration until you run a few more laps and get it scrubbed off. So the groove these guys are running to race 3 abreast can cause some vibrations.
I would bet. You see Buddy Lazier right behind in that purple machine. He's showing right now some 40-some-odd laps down in 13th position. But finally, will try and work himself free here. Now the leader is in race traffic.
Down low, you can see him 3 wide down low.
Around Tice Carlson and Dr. Jack Miller right there.
Actually used his head pretty well. He got to that traffic quite a bit earlier, but he knew he had enough car underneath him. He could take his time and wait for it to spread out just a little bit.
AJ says 5 laps to go.
AJ's probably telling him he's got a good race car, he's got a good lead. Don't do anything stupid right now. You can win this race.
Well, certainly Kenny Brack, if he can hold on here as he puts a lap on Ari Leyendijk, is a guy who has paid his dues from go-karts to Formula 3000 to Formula Opel to the Barber Saab Series, where he was champion back in the early 1990s.
He was really due for a good race. You know, they've had a couple of really hard luck races, and they've been fast, but just had a lot of bad luck. So I think tonight was his night.
You're right. This is the 6th race that he's led of only 14 he's been in.
Well, in last week, you know, he felt he had as good a car as anybody, and they had that fuel injection problem early. So he's got a smile on his face right now, and he doesn't want to feel any vibrations, does he, Billy?
Absolutely not. You know, this is the time of the race that you feel all those little things. You know, got a little bit of lead, a couple laps to go. You can feel just about anything going on in that race car right now.
It'll be 2 laps to go. Comes back to the stripe 2 times remaining, Vince Welch, and it'll be checkers flags.
It's all smooth for Kenny Breck. The car running very well. Obviously, he's pulling away from all the other contenders. The main point here for Kenny, be careful going through the traffic. Otherwise, it's home free to the checkered flag.
Turn 3 and 4. Brian Howard has the white flag in hand. One more time around the 1.5 miles.
It's really great for the power team and the whole AJ Foyt team. You know, that team has struggled a little bit, and I feel really happy for them. They really needed this.
32-year-old veteran from Karlstad, Sweden. And as we mentioned, he has tried and tried, and on his 14th try, Kenny Breck is going to victory lane in the Pep Boys IRL. He wins the Visionaire 500 for AJ Foyt and the rest of the team. And a dominating victory by 5 6/10 seconds on Jeff Ward.
Well, it really was. With all the trouble they had in the pits and things like that, they overcame all those problems to get to the checkered flag.
AJ Foyt with a big old smile on his face, Vince.
AJ indeed is very happy as his team avoided problems in pit lane tonight. Both Greg Ray and Kenny Breck's team. AJ, congratulations. Kenny had a great run tonight, and you guys avoided some problems, but you got it there.
All the screw-ups we made, and then he missed the pits. It looked like it wasn't our night, but boy.
He missed the pits. Did you think that cost you the race?
Well, I really did, and like I said, we turned the hell out of the motor, and K-Tech I owe a lot of thanks to, because baby was hitting the rib limiter, and it stayed together.
It was strong all night. AJ gets a win. Kenny Breck's first, and we'll go to victory lane and talk to the winner.
And all of that will be coming up in just a moment, as TNN Motorsports has been with you, and Kenny Breck on his first ever career win in the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Back in a moment. Kenny Breck, a first-time winner on the Pep Boys IRL. He led 7 times for 76 laps tonight. Why don't we go down to the Pep Boys victory lane ceremonies, and you see Vince Welch right in the middle of it all.
Kenny Breck winning in the Pep Boys Indy Racing League for the first time. He's been close before, but his first time in victory lane, and he's getting ready to climb out of the Dallara, putting on the Visionaire 500 cap. The winner of the Visionaire 500 from Sweden, Kenny Breck, and he's so tired he can barely get out of the car. There he goes. Kenny, congratulations, a terrific run. How about that pass with about 12 laps to go? You get by the leader, Jeff Ward. Marco Greco was there causing some traffic, or were you using Greco to get by Ward?
Yeah, we were using traffic to get by, and we made it, so it was good. I can't thank the team, the AJ Foyt and power team enough. You know, they gave me a very good car, and it was a lot of fun out there today.
When you first signed on with AJ and he called you to join the team, you went out and bought a pair of cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. Maybe he needs to buy you something this time.
No, actually, I had a pina colada in a bar in Las Vegas, but it was a great deal, and it's given me a victory. So it's great to have a victory like this, and for a legendary team owner like AJ, fantastic.
A lot of people thought a Swedish driver may not fit with the Texan, AJ Foyt, but it seems the two of you have been quite a match, AJ.
Well, it is. I'm glad to see his red 14 and power team back victory circle. That's what I'm on all my racing, car 14, and I'm just glad to see Kenny here. I mean, he did a hell of a job, and kind of like the old 14. It looked awful beautiful tonight, Kenny, and you drove a hell of a race, baby.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Kenny Breck, the winner of the Visionaire 500 for the AJ Foyt power team.
And Vince bringing it home second tonight is Jeff Ward, and that equals his best finish on the season. Earlier at Orlando, a second-place finish. You picked up the vibration late in the race, Jeff. If you didn't have that, you think you would have been able to hold Breck at bay?
Well, I don't know. I was struggling through 3 and 4 a lot of the night, but earlier in the race, he could close up on me, but couldn't get by, and I felt, even though he was coming up, I could hold him off, but we picked up a real bad vibration, and, you know, I didn't know what it was, if it was a tire. I could see a line on the front tire, so I thought maybe it was blistering, because we didn't change tires on that splash and go, so the car kind of had a push all night, but, you know, I think he had us covered there at the end, but, you know, I wasn't going to do any blocking, but it was a lot of fun. We came close to, you know, real close to winning, but maybe next time.
When it came down to it, the move that Breck put on you for the lead, that was in heavy traffic. Was that kind of a hold-your-breath situation?
Well, yeah, actually, I didn't know he was that close when I came up on, I don't know who it was in the turn 3, and he went way high, and then I knew he was there, but, you know, Greco got in the way a little bit off of 2, and he got a run. There was nothing I could do to hold him off, so once he got by, it was just, you know, to salvage second, but this whole ISM team did a great job in the pits. I mean, they gave me the opportunity to win the race, everything worked perfect, and we'll get one before the year's out.
Well, it's going to certainly help you in the battle for the championship. You move up a couple notches.
Yeah, we've had a string of bad luck here, but, you know, we're looking for some more sponsors to come on, and things are going real well. It's just a matter of time before we win. It's just that hurt us in the points, but this is definitely going to help us because a lot of the top guys fell out, so it's giving us the right hope for the championship again.
Jeff Ward, happy about a good run today.
Wardy's had a tough run of late with engine failure at Texas and Loudon and leaving early with the accident at Dover, but today he came home second to Kenny Brack, a first-time winner in the IRL.
I don't know if you noticed, but Kenny Breck in Victory Circle, I mean, he was whooped. I mean, he was still trying to catch his breath. So he worked real hard to get the job done. His comment about pina coladas, I'm not even sure those are legal or served in Texas, are they?
For medicinal purposes only.
Okay.
Definitely so. Scott Goodyear came home in 3rd spot today. Let's hear from him.
That's right. Before the race, Eli, you'll remember Scott was talking about turn 3 and how he thought it might be a little bit evil here for him today. But track was pretty nice to you tonight, Scott.
Well, we'll take home 3rd place points, but we got killed in turns 3 and 4 as far as speed was concerned. Could not go flat through there. Made the car better in the pit stops through the event. I'm pleased with the guys in the team. Did great pit stops for me on the Pennzoil and Panther pack, and we moved up in the points, and that's what's important. Raleigh-Durham's just up the road, and it's the hometown for Northern Telecom, one of our sponsors, and we got everybody here from Hard Rock Cafe tonight, so had to make sure we finished.
Congratulations on a very nice run, your 3rd place finish, and further moving up in the standings, Scott.
Well, thank you. That's what we got chasing now is a championship. We got to be happy with 3rd.
All right. Scotty will be back at Pikes Peak, the next one for the IRL Pep Boys drivers, Eli.
And that was a 3rd place run for him ahead of Ari Lyondike in 4th. And Marco Greco backing up his 3rd place run of a weekend ago with a fine 5th place finish here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And there you see again the unofficial numbers. Stevie Reeves down there in 10th position. Good run for him. Solid run for the doctor, Jack Miller.
Yeah, and Davey Hamilton had trouble early. He's in that point battle as well, but he was able to bring it home anyway.
Further back from 11th on, Tice Carlson will take home 11th place honors, and Andy Mitchner in the Eliseo Salazar machine, the Riley and Scott chassis. Only one in the field today with a solid finish.
More solid than it shows. He actually ran pretty strong. I think he was up to 4th or 5th at one time and had some problems. I don't know if they're having a fuel pickup problem or what, but they had a bunch of unscheduled stops.
And Billy, again, there you see Buddy Lazier, who had the early problems, but, you know, one of the quickest cars on the racetrack. He just was many, many laps down.
Absolutely. You got to, it's the thing about this race, and you have a problem, you know, it just kills you, and you got to be there running every lap.
There you see through 20th spot, Tony Stewart came home 21st. Guthrie, Kite, and Raul Boisel, who was first out with engine failure on lap number 9. Ari Lyondike, as we mentioned, finishing 4th today. The 2-time Indy 500 champ is with us.
That's right, Eli, and that'll be a best finish of the season for Ari Lyondike here with the 4th place finish. And how would you describe the run overall for you today?
On a scale of 1 to 10, about a 5.
Still waiting for that first win.
Yeah. And it's past my bedtime, too. We shouldn't be racing this long. But, no, the car was difficult for me during the race. And with a lot of attrition, I'm glad everything stayed in one piece. 50 laps from the end, I got stuck in 5th gear. So that wasn't good. But I was glad that it at least got stuck in 5th gear and not in a lower gear. Basically just circled around and wasn't competitive tonight, but strong enough to keep it running and stay somewhat in the hunt.
He called it a ho-hum run, but he's going to have to take it tonight. A 4th place finish. A nice job for Ari Lyondike.
Veteran coming home, as we say, in 4th spot. But Kenny Brack gets the win, After being 5th here a year ago, he becomes the 5th driver to win in 1998 and the 12th driver ever to win a Pep Boys Indy Racing League event. Back to wrap it up in a moment.